Lord, to worship you, oh my soul, rejoice. Take joy, my King, in what you hear. Just let it be a sweet, sweet sound in your ear. I love Yahuwah. I love Yahuwah.
And I lift my voice.
And I lift my voice
to worship you. Oh, my
worship you. Oh, my soul, rejoice.
Take joy, my King,
Take joy, my King,
in what you hear.
in what you hear. Let it be a sweet, sweet sound in your ear. I love Yahuwah. And I lift my voice to worship you, oh my and what you hear, let it be a sweet, sweet sound. Let it be a sweet, sweet sound. Let it be a sweet, sweet sound in your ear.
You got another fast one real quick? Well,
Okay, here we go. What else is there? Yeah.
my Elohim.
For he has done the work for me.
He has taken all my sins,
All my sins.
and he poured his spirit in.
I love
I love Yahuwah, my Elohim, for he has done so very much for me.
he has done the very much for me.
He has taken all my sins
Taken all my
and poured his spirit in.
Lord Spirit. I love Yahuwah, my Elohim. I love Yahuwah, my Elohim. For he has done so very much for me.
Taking all my sins,
Taking all my
poured his spirit in.
Lord Spirit. I love Yahuwah, my Elohim.
Who do you love?
I love Yahuwah, my Elohim.
Who do you love?
I love Yahuwah, my Elohim.
Who do you love?
I love Yahuwah, my Elohim.
Hallelujah. What'd you say, 23? Huh? Oh, always KD. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me look. 23, correct?
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Today's reading going to be Proverbs chapter 23. When thou sittest to eat with the rulers, consider diligently what is before thee, and put a knife to thy throat if thou be a man given to appetite.
Oh.
Be not desirous of his dainties, for they are deceitful. Labor not to be rich, seize for thine own wisdom. Wilt thou set thy eyes upon that which is not? For riches certainly make themselves wings. They fly away as an eagle towards Shemaim. Eat thou not the bread of him that has the evil eye, neither desire thou his dainty meat. For as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. Eat and drink, saith he to thee, but his heart is not with thee. The morsel which thou hast eaten shalt thou vomit up, and lose thy sweet words. Speak not in the ears of a fool, for he will despise the wisdom of thy words. Remove not the old landmark, and enter not into the fields of the fatherless. For their Redeemer is mighty, and he shall plead their cause with thee. Apply thy heart to instruction, and thy ears to the words of knowledge. Withhold not correction from the child, for if thou beatest him with the rod, he shall not die. Thou shalt beat him with the rod, and shalt deliver his soul from Sheol. My son, if thy heart be wise, my heart shall rejoice, even mine. Yea, my reign shall rejoice, when thy lips speak right things. Let not thy heart envy sinners, but be thou in the fear of Yahuwah all the day long.
Oh, God.
For surely there is an end, and thine expectation shall not be cut off. Hear thou, my son, and be wise, and guide thy heart in the way. Be not among wine bearers, among righteous eaters of the flesh. For the drunkard and the glutton shall come to poverty, and drowsiness shall be clothed a man with rags. Hearken unto thy father that begat thee, and despise not thy mother when she is old. Buy the truth and sell it not. Also wisdom and instruction and understanding. The father of the righteous shall greatly rejoice, and he that begotten a wise child shall have joy of him. Thy father and thy mother shall be glad, and she that bare thee shall rejoice. My son, give me thine heart, and let thy eyes observe my ways. For a whore is a deep ditch, and a strange woman is a narrow pit. She also lies in wait as for prey, and increases the transgressions among men. Who has woe? Who has sorrows? Who has contention? Who has babbling? Who has wounds without cause? Who has redness of eye? They that tarry long at the wine. They that go to seek mixed wine. Look not upon the wine when it is red, when it gives it color in the cup, when it moves itself aright. At the last it biteth like a serpent, and stingeth like an adder. Thy eyes shall behold strange women, and thy heart shall utter perverse things. Yea, thou shalt be as that lies down in the midst of the sea, or as he that lies upon the top of a mast. They have stricken me, shalt thou say, and I was not sick. They have beaten me, and I felt it not. When shall I wait? I will seek it yet again. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
All right. Now I'm going to go to our class mission, our mission statement.
Hey, hold up for a second.
Okay.
This time start at Deuteronomy the 29th chapter and the 24th verse, and read all the way down into the 30th, 1 through 3.
Okay. 29th chapter. Which verse? 24th verse?
Yeah.
Okay. Even all nations shall say, wherefore hath Yahuwah done this unto this land? What meaneth the heat of this great anger? Then men shall say, because they have forsaken the covenant of Yahuwah Elohim of their fathers, which he made with them when he brought them forth out of the land of Mizraim. For they went and served other idols, and worshipped them, idols whom they knew not, and whom he had not given unto them. And the anger of Yahuwah was kindled against this land, to bring upon it all the curses that are written in this book. And Yahuwah rooted them out of their land in anger, and in wrath, and in great indignation, and cast them into another land, as it is to this day. The secret things belong only unto Yahuwah our Elohim.
Right.
But those things which are revealed belong unto us and to our children forever.
For what?
To our children forever, that we may do all the words of this law.
Some of the words of this law.
All the words of this law.
Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessings and the curse which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to the mind among all the nations where Yahuwah thy Elohim has driven thee.
Where? What?
Among all the
Yes.
nations where the Yahuwah thy Elohim has driven thee, and shall return unto Yahuwah thy Elohim, and shall obey his voice, according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children, with all thy heart and with all thy soul, that then Yahuwah thy Elohim will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and return and gather thee from all the nations where the Yahuwah thy Elohim has scattered thee.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. All right.
All right, so look, Baruch Shabbat.
Shabbat.
Not everybody in here seen me before. My name is AJ Yahoo, or Elihu Yahoo. As the Job 32, the young man Elihu. But anyway, man, we kicked in the door going hard in Proverbs 23, and I can't lie. Boy, that must be the Ruach HaKodesh. But we were definitely finna talk in regard to that, and I did not know you were finna read Proverbs 23. But hold on, I gotta go back there. Because, hey, it got heavy real quick. Like I said, kicked in the door, and we got a lot of what you call hekmah in Hebrew wisdom within this. The scribes to Solomon. Solomon so-called wrote Proverbs, and he was kicking heavy. What he say? When thou sit to eat with a ruler, consider diligently what is put before you. Because you just can't just willy-nilly do things. See, now what we finna talk about today, this ain't got nothing to do with religion or nothing. What we doing is practicing a culture that is going to restore the Adamic civilization. When I say Adamic civilization, I'm talking about the sons and daughters of Adam. Now, of course, the Most High, he set apart a nation for to do this, to be that example of what the earth should be like. So all nations can come and learn and inquire of how to run our societies. This is what going to restore us being more prudent and in preparation and knowing what the culture is that the Most High taught. Verse 2 saying, put a knife to thy throat if thou be a man, give it to appetite. So what we trying to overcome is those low-natured things. And the reason why I went here, because today we talking about the boy of Paul, Saul of Tarsus. And the reason why we see so many doctrines come about, so many what you call stumbling blocks, and some people put the blame on Paul, some people be like, well, no, it's hard to understand Paul, like 2 Peter 3 and 15 say. So now we're finna go into the historical context of what his letters and epistles are. First of all, let's go to Isaiah 8 and 20. We got to get this foundation real quick. We're going to get that one line. I just want to make reference to this because we're going to come back to it. I want to use that as a foundation, a pivotal point so us to come back to. All right, we in there like snowboard. Let's do it.
All right. To the law and to the testimony. If we speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them.
To the law and to the testimony. Somebody tell me what that means. Like the law and the testimony. How else could you say that? Because I'm going to say, right, check this out. Y'all know what the Tanakh is, right? The abbreviation TNK. The Torah, the Navim, which is the prophets, and the Ketuvim, which is the writings. They're saying that right there, to the law and to the testimony, because the prophets gave testimony to what the law was saying. Isaiah, Jeremiah, Habakkuk, Nahum, you know what I'm saying? So if we're not speaking according to what the Tanakh is saying, it ain't no light according to us. Now let's put ourselves in the 1st century AD. And I hope y'all understand what I mean. The first century AD, during the time of Yahshua, Mashiach, all we had was the Tanakh. We had no New Testament. I do subscribe to the New Testament. I read out the New Testament, but I understand for what it is. Like I said, we're not dealing with religion right now. We're dealing with culture. We're dealing with the nation. We're dealing with history. Real life. Because ain't nothing fake about this scripture we be reading. All right, so check this out. What we just read in Proverbs 23. You finna say something?
Yeah. Did you add Luke 24 and 44?
We can go there.
Yeah, just read that one verse just real quick.
You go to Luke 20?
Just real quick. This goes with what you just stated. 24 and 44.
Yeah.
And he said unto them, These are the words which I spake unto you while I was yet with you, that all things must be fulfilled, which were written in the law of Shemaiah, and in the prophets, and in the Psalms concerning me.
Look at that. Law, prophets, Psalms.
Right.
Psalms represent the Ketuvim, or writings. The prophets, the Navim, and then the law, which is the Torah, the instruction. So everything come back here. No matter what we talking about, we referring to Isaiah 8 and 20. We referring to Luke 24 and 44. Now check this out. With that being said, this going to be touching to people who may cleave on to certain figures in the New Testament. That's why I say we're going to come with this unbiased. But in regards to Paul, what we just read in Proverbs 23, when the Kekmah, the wisdom, said to be diligent about what's put before you, right? Don't just jump straight into it. Control your appetite. This is something contradicting what Paul would have mentioned in 1 Corinthians 10 to 25. Now, matter of fact, I want to start this off 1 Timothy 4 real quick because we got to look at this. We're going to go to Paul's letters. And if anybody knows, somebody tell me who Paul was writing to in 1 Timothy 4? Right? And specifically, it's named Timothy.
Right.
Right?
Right.
He wasn't writing to Josiah.
Timothy.
Right?
Yahoo, Matthias.
Right. And furthermore, we don't have a response letter. So y'all don't really know the full conversation. We just, all right, now, I'm saying we finna deal with history right now. So listen, let's hit on that 1 Timothy 4 because we realize and I know I'm going to go here because a lot of people, whether Christian, Israelite, Islam, they may use 1 Timothy 4 to justify a lot of things they do. And say, well, it's written in the Bible. Let's see about this though. Start off on the top real quick.
Okay. Now the Lord speaketh especially that in the latter time some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils, speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron.
So right, the context is the doctrine of devils. We need to see who he is referring to in regards to the doctrine of devils. All right? And we're going to see why he calling this a doctrine of devil. Go ahead.
Forbidding to marry and commanding to abstain from meats, which Elohim has created to be received with thanksgiving of them which believe and know the truth.
So how many of y'all know Christians that would go to this and be like, well, you can't tell me to not eat swine because it say as long as I receive it with thanksgiving because it's created by the Most High.
That's a whole bunch of them I know.
I bet. See, that's why reading context is important. It's important for us to be astute, for us to have that scholarship behind this. Now, verse 4.
For every creature of Elohim is good, and nothing to be refused, if it be received with thanksgiving. For it is sanctified by the word of Elohim and prayer.
All right, boom. You feel me? And so that's a go-to. But y'all know as from what we understand in the yeshiva and as us as Israelites, we understand what he was saying. He ain't dealing with the matter of unclean and clean.
Right.
Now what we gonna figure out what he is dealing with and who he referring to doctrines of devils. That people in the end times gonna cleave on to this doctrine of the devils. He talking about some people that was in his time that he was in debate with. And now we finna get into some drama. I ain't trying to be messy, but we going to the first century drama real quick. All right, let's go to 1 Corinthians 10 real quick. Actually, nah, let's go to Acts 15. Acts 15. Because they're going to back up Proverbs 23 when he said, pay attention what put before you when a ruler give you food. What the 3 boys did, the 3 Hebrew boys, they put down.
The king's meat.
All right.
Give us vegetables.
All right.
That we may live.
We finna get into the context of what he talking about. Somebody preaching doctrine of the devil saying, hey, don't eat meats. You feel me? Somebody saying, hey, forbidden to marry. But we're going to show how he over-exaggerated too. Acts chapter 15. We're going to get into the context, my boy. Come on with it. We're going to do from the top probably. All right. You know what? I don't know about the top. Let's see. Verse 5. And before we read, I just want y'all to know what's going on. It's a meeting going on in Jerusalem. And they trying to figure out how they was going to deal with the Gentiles. What's up?
Verse 3.
Let's start from verse 3. Let's do it.
Okay. You might as well start at 1 then.
Might as well start from the top. We do it from the top.
Let's start from
Let's
the
do it.
top. Okay. And certain men which came down from Judea taught the brethren and said, except ye be circumcised after the manner of Shemaiah, ye cannot be saved. When therefore Paul and Barnabas had no small dissension and disputation with them, they determined that Paul and Barnabas and certain other of them should go up to Jerusalem unto the apostles and elders about this question.
So Paul and Barnabas finna go check in. Y'all know Paul and Barnabas had they was under a ranking system. Like during this time, everybody under some form of ranking system. Paul and Barnabas had to check in with somebody. And we finna figure out who these people that they checking in with. Go ahead with it.
And being brought on their way by the church, they passed through Phoenicia and Samaria, declaring the conversion of the Gentiles, and it caused great joy unto all the brethren. And when they were come to Jerusalem, they were received of the church and of the apostles and elders. And they declared all things that Elohim had done with them.
Right, so they giving testimony about what they was doing in Europe. All right, let's do it.
But there arose a certain of the sect of the Pharisees, which believed, saying that it was needful to circumcise them and to command them to keep the laws of Shemaiah.
Let's start real quick. I got to break this down too, because see, check this out. I understand from a Christian perspective, we look at the word Pharisees and get a negative meaning to it. Ain't nothing wrong with a Pharisee. It just, during the time of Yahshua, he was a, let me break it down from the top. You had 2 different main sects of Pharisees, Bet Hillel and Bet Shammai. Shammai was the elder in the 1st century, and Hillel was the elder in the 1st century. So these 2 different schools of thoughts of Pharisees. Pharisee just means somebody who studied the law. Same thing Yahshua and the apostles did. They was a part of a certain sect of Pharisees. Now, I understand that in the New Testament, it's written in a certain way where it'll make you think all Pharisees are something negative.
Right.
Ain't nothing negative about them. That's why he say, and they show righteousness to see the scribes and Pharisees, meaning you got to do what they doing, but go hard and magnify the law like you'll prophesy the Messiah was. So ain't nothing wrong with the word Pharisee, but we see a meeting with the Pharisees, and we're going to see James and Peter and John pop up in this meeting too with the Pharisees. But go ahead.
And the apostles and the elders came together for to consider of this matter. And when there had been much disputing, Peter rose up and said unto them, Men and brethren, ye know how that good while ago Elohim made choice among us, that the Gentiles by my mouth should hear the word of the gospel and believe. And Elohim, which knoweth the hearts, bear them witness, giving them the Ruach Kadesh, even as he did unto us.
So who was the first apostle to the Gentiles?
Right, Peter, that's right.
Who?
Peter.
All right. I know Paul get the title of apostle to the Gentile, but let's be clear, y'all. We finna start getting into it now.
Yahshua,
Let's be clear.
even in the conversation between him and Yahshua, he was like, feed my sheep. You know what I'm saying? Even the lost sheep, even though it was outside of there.
Right. So what it was when Peter first got woke up to come to the Gentiles. You remember?
Oh, it was
Right.
Acts chapter 10.
Right.
He was dealing with Cornelius, and he said he saw all the manifold beast came down on the Nick. He said, rise, Peter, kill and eat. And one time about food, like some Christians said, I ain't gonna make this about Christians, but certain people. It wasn't about food. It was talking about dealing with men. Because Cornelius and them boys on the way down. So now check this out. Peter was one of the original apostles to the Gentiles. Mm-hmm. Paul came up and he made himself the apostle to the Gentiles, and even the word apostle, which we're going to get into later, because he wasn't an apostle. What verse we left off on?
9, I apologize. And put no difference between us and them, purifying their hearts by faith. Now, therefore, why tempt ye Elohim to put a yoke upon the neck of the disciples, which neither our fathers nor we were able to bear? But we believe that through the grace of Yahshua HaMashiach, that we shall be saved, even as they. Then all multitude kept silence. It gave audience to Barnabas and Paul, declaring what miracles and wonders Elohim had wrought among the Gentiles by them. And after they had held their peace, James answered, saying, Men and brethren, hearken unto me. Simeon had declared how Elohim at first did visit the Gentiles to take out of them a people for his name. And to this agree the words of the prophet as it is written. After this I will return, and will build again the tabernacle of David, which is fallen down, and I will build again the ruins thereof, and I will set it up.
All right, stop real quick. Who was speaking to you then, if y'all paid attention? James, it said, let me show you.
James.
Yeah, verse 13, James had stood up and started speaking, bro. Because what y'all gonna realize is it's a whole ranking system. Back then, James, Peter, and John, what you call the 3 pillars.
Right.
They was the ones running it back then. And they was also, James was the head of the part of the circumcision, which we can get into later. And we're gonna see Paul speaking about the part of the circumcision. Now, this is why he's speaking with so much authority in the room. This is who Paul had to check in with. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
All this gonna make sense at the end of this discussion. All right. So, 17.
That the residue of men might seek after Yahuwah and all the Gentiles upon whom my name is called, saith Yahuwah, who doeth all these things. Known unto Elohim are his works from the beginning of the world. Wherefore my sentence is that we trouble not them which from among the Gentiles are turned unto Elohim.
Right. Again, one more time. Who's speaking right now? James, and he's speaking to Paul and Barnabas. He said, hey, we ain't going to trouble the Gentiles, but we going to tell them this. Go ahead.
But we write unto them that they abstain from pollution of idols, and from fornication, and from things strangled, and from blood.
What y'all think pollutions of idols mean? Yeah, it's a form of false worship. And we're going to read. We're going to read exactly what it means. Go ahead.
Yeah.
For Shemaiah of old time hath in every city them that preach him, being read in the synagogues every Sabbath day. Then pleased it to the apostles and elders with the whole church to send chosen men of their own company to Antioch with Paul and Barnabas, naming Judas surnamed Barnabas and Silas, chief men among the brethren. And they wrote letters by them after this manner. The apostles and the elders and the brethren send greeting unto the brethren which are of the Gentiles in Antioch and Syria and Cilicia. For so much that we have heard that certain which went out from us have troubled you with words, subverting your souls, saying ye must be circumcised and keep the law, to whom we gave no such commandment. It seemed good unto us, being assembled with one accord, to send chosen men unto you, with our beloved Barnabas and Paul, men that have hazarded their lives in the name of for the name of our master, Yahshua HaMashiach. We have sent therefore Judas and Silas, who shall tell you the same things by mouth. For it seemed good to the Lord Kadesh and to us to lay upon you no greater burden than these.
Now here go the pollutions of idols right there. Verse 29 finna tell you what that pollution of idols talking about. He gonna expound on it and repeat what he said again. Go ahead.
All right. That ye abstain from meats offered to idols, and from blood, and from things strangled, and from fornication, from which if ye keep yourselves, ye shall do well.
So there it is. He told Paul and Barnabas, he said, go teach these people that they abstain from foods offered to idols, because y'all know meats mean food. Meats don't mean animal flesh. You know, it didn't mean that until the 1800s. And he also said from blood, from things strange, and from fornication. All right? Now we're going to see Proverbs 23, when you need to pay attention what he said to what you put before you from a ruler, basically controlling your appetite. Right. But we ain't going to make this about appetite. We just going to show something about Paul, because he said something totally contrary. Keep in mind, James, Peter, and John is authority over Paul and Barnabas. They the ones sending them boys on their missions at their time. They like, go do this and go do that. But what Paul turned around to do? Go to 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 25 real quick.
Chapter 10, verse 25. Yeah. Okay. You ready?
Yeah. Oh, you said, Cynthia said,
My flip game is not that good.
oh, you better get that flip game together. 1 Corinthians chapter 10.
Okay.
And we're going to jump down to verse 25. Yep.
All right. Whosoever is sold in a shambles that eat, asking no question for conscience sake.
What the shambles is, y'all?
Viewing it sound like viewing it to me.
The market.
The markets, right?
Yeah.
Right.
He's saying whatever sold in the marketplace, what he say? Go ahead and eat it. You don't have no question about where it came from, so it don't be on your conscience. What Proverbs 23 just said?
Think diligently before you.
All right.
Yeah.
Like that.
What Acts 15 verse 29 said? Tell them to pay attention what they putting on their plates.
Right.
Meats offered to idols, from fornication, things strange. He gave the 4 golden rules. What you gonna teach? So what? Did Paul obey the decree that James gave when he said this?
Mm-mm.
It sounded like he was being careless, because if I give you a cup with some crushed up glass of cyanide in it, bro, you feel me? Ain't you gonna want to question or inquire what I'm giving you, like out of nowhere type situation? Well, somebody strange, somebody from another nation,
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
If not, guess what's gonna happen, bro? You gonna die or something. You get what? That means 1 Timothy 4, when it says you pray over it, don't stand. This real life, bro. They ain't never. I say we ain't dealing with religion, ideology. Right now, we talking about real life. So we see here, Paul started disobeying the decree that was given, and it wasn't just James giving the decree. He got it out of the Torah somewhere.
Right.
Leviticus 18, but
Right.
we don't go there right now. Go ahead with the next verse.
Okay. For conscience sake. For the earth is Yahuwah's and the fullness thereof. If any of them that believe not bid you to a feast, and ye be disposed to go, whatsoever is set before you, eat, asking no questions for conscience sake.
Now I know he ain't just said it again. He said, whatever somebody give you, bro, just gonna eat it, bro. Don't ask no question if it was sacrificed to Buddha or Christian or somebody.
It's wicked, man.
It's wicked, especially compared to people like James, Peter, and John, because they was more pious than that. They weren't playing like that, G.
Yeah.
You ain't finna just
Right.
dealing with no other nation. What's up?
I hate this because I always say this about the Maccabees. If they die about this, why is it okay now?
Right. They died about it. Right. Right.
So they died for no reason.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we gotta hold those things as it matters.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because they're setting the example for us.
And you're right. And see, that's why I'm saying you got different schools of thoughts in regards to that. It always been debates on this matter from the first century, even before then. Like you said, the time of the Maccabees. I can show how the high priest in 2 Maccabees chapter 5, whenever the Greeks were sacrificing pigs on the altars, them boys went to the wilderness. And they said they ate herbs continually, lest they be partakers of defilement or something like that. Meaning, if they couldn't properly sacrifice or they knew where their food was coming from, they wasn't partaking in it. You know what I'm saying? Because it wasn't offered to the Most High. You know what I'm saying? So this was certain schools of thought. I'm trying to show you that James, Peter, and John was under the same school of thought. Paul taught otherwise, and he represented the people that taught otherwise. So I want to see if y'all, what side we finna take when we read scripture, showing you how we going back to Isaiah 8 and 20. If you ain't speaking by the law of the prophets, it ain't no light in you. What we reading right here is commentary. Ain't no different from when a Muslim read the Quran and then they got a hadith saying, this is what Muhammad said. Or the Ashkenazis read the Torah and then they got the Talmud and the Mishnah and the Midrash saying this is the commentary of the rabbinic you feel me, elders. So right now, 1 Corinthians was a letter written to the people in Corinth, kind of like commentary. You see what I'm saying? But what Isaiah 80:20 said, if you speak not according to the law and the prophets, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And then also in Revelations, he tells the assembly of Thyatira that he got that thing against them because they would talk the doctrine of Jezebel.
Revelation chapter 2.
Right. Eating things offered to idols.
And see, guess what? I'm glad you said that because if we go there, we're going down the rabbit hole right now. You feel me? No
You already
doubt.
headed there though.
Exactly. Because see, this thing bigger than us. We might be in the game for a long time and we think we got it sold up, but really,
No, sir.
because Jeremiah 17:4 said we lost our heritage. Like, we ain't understanding that, hey, you know what I'm saying, how this thing is scribed and written, that this right here for us, like the Torah, the laws, the instruction for us. And see, check this out. What you just said in Revelation chapter 2, if we look at the etymology and the words of those Greek words when it come down to Nicholas, y'all know who Nicholas is? Hold on. We're going to finish this out because Paul did say something that was cool, that kind of gave him a hand clap in the 1 Corinthians 10. But to me, it don't take back what he said previous to that.
No.
Go ahead.
Where we back at?
We at verse 28.
Okay, 1 Corinthians. Okay.
Oh, yeah. So we're gonna let this thing digest real quick, y'all. All right.
Can I touch on so as I read this over and over, it almost sounds like something that somebody would say nowadays to keep you from having to go through turmoil. Because you know, like for me at work, prime example, nobody at work like me because I don't eat with them. They hate it, and I tell them I can't eat this stuff. This is not in the scripts, and I'm blacklisted because of that. So what he's saying is just do what they saying because then they'll accept you. You'll be cool with everybody, but contrary and turning that, now you on the wrong side of the Most High.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I go to that every day when I'm at work because I don't eat that food. Now I say, hey, y'all, you know, what's in this? So y'all put this in there. What's in these baked beans? You know what being baked beans. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they don't like that I'm asking questions, and you can see it. So I just see that as he's saying this because he's trying to keep the peace, but you can't be no peace when you live in the war. So you can't be you can't have peace without, you know what I'm saying, some kind of
Your body is a temple.
You know what I'm saying?
What you put on it, that's what you putting on the altar. That's what you offer. Now get what you just
Paul
said.
says that too. Paul says that too.
But Paul said it right
Two,
then.
3 times.
Yeah.
But see, check this out though. What you just said is the reason why when Paul accused Peter for sitting down and eating with people that didn't keep a kosher diet, that was such a heavy thing. Because James and them weren't playing that, cuz. You can see James and them came in, and what Paul said, Peter got up and ran like a coward. We're going to read it, man. I'm telling you, it's drama all, man. Listen. Listen, bro. I'm going to slow that thing down because we're finna go to Revelation 2, because I'm glad you mentioned that.
My
I
bad.
just want to see that. No, but before we go to Revelation 2, let's finish these few verses out real quick.
Let's say 1 Corinthians.
1 Corinthians chapter 10, we in verse 26, 27. Go 28.
But if any man say unto you, this is offered in sacrifice unto idols, eat not, for his sake that showed it, and for conscience sake, for the earth is Yahuwah's and the fullness thereof.
Right, so this is his way of teaching what James and them told him. He's saying, well, shoot, if you do happen to find out their offer, don't eat it, bro.
You're trying to find a way around it.
It's a loophole. It's like,
exactly you compromise.
Mm-hmm. But if he was in court, bro, you know, he'll get interrogated by some lawyers, bro. They going, nah, you know what I'm saying? And see, that's why that meeting in Acts chapter 15 was so heavy, because he was lawyers.
Right.
Y'all know our culture ain't got nothing to do with like the rest of the world's nation laws. Our laws are divine laws. It's based off the Torah. You know what I'm saying? This ain't about religion, it's about nationhood. So he was dealing with lawyers then when he was talking to the Pharisees, and they was interrogating him. Well, not interrogating him, but they could get to the point of interrogating him. Well, we can read James did the same thing in later chapters. But we did see, Paul get a hand clap. Paul get a hand clap for what he said just then. But it's crazy that he had to mention that in the midst of that loophole when he said, well, don't ask it, bro, for your conscience. Yeah.
No, and back. Way back.
That caused a lot of people.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a big one right there.
That really made me is, and what you just said, you saying the word, but while we going to Revelation 2, what Josiah just said, Ruach HaKodesh is moving through everybody. You feel me? Right now. Verse 29, I don't know. I be having to investigate that though. Read that verse 29.
Conscience, I say, not thy own, but of the other. For why is my liberty judged of another man's conscience?
So what is he referring to? What other man's conscience is he referring to? You know what I'm saying? Are he referring to the conscience of the people that he said teaching the doctrine of the devil to abstain from meat? Because he called that doctrine of the devil. But I'm going to show y'all why he called these people doctrines of the devil. He was in opposition to them. They were his ops. It was drama in the first century. And we don't understand it because of religion. We think everything is so cohesive. You know what I'm saying? Until you do your diligent and scrupulous investigation of the scriptures that we living by. What we living by? Isaiah 80:20 though. Let's go to Revelation chapter 2, man. We gotta take our culture a little bit more serious, man. And I like that Yahshua, Mashiach, he left a whole template behind. The people he left behind was who? Who he gave the keys to the church to? Kepha. Right, Peter. His brother was who?
James.
These boys saw that man grew up, cuz.
Right.
All right.
And just like what we just read in Luke, he taught them out of the law, the prophets, and he didn't just make up his own thing.
It wasn't no philosophy.
Right.
He wasn't dealing with philos.
Right.
He wasn't trying to make his penmanship sound close to the Greeks, who were used to using a multitude of words to say
Paul,
one thing.
Like Paul.
Like Paul.
Like
Then why you gonna realize they ain't sound like Paul talking in circles because he was trying to keep up with Socrates and Jerome and Eusebius and all these boys.
Yeah.
Clement. Y'all better study the first century, man, the early church years.
Mm-hmm.
It get for real. Revelation chapter 2. Hey, matter of fact, yeah, let's start that thing on verse 13. Revelation 2, verse 13.
Right. I know thy works and where thou dwellest, even where Constantine's seat is, and thou holdest fast my name, and hast not denied my faith. Even in those days when Antipas was my faithful martyr, who was slain among you, where Constantine dwelleth. But I have a few things against thee, because thou hast there them that hold the doctrine of Balaam, who taught Balak to cast a stumbling block before the children of Yasharel, to eat things sacrificed unto idols, and to commit fornication. So hast thou also been holding.
Hey, stop real quick, my bad. Verse 14, man, I want to expound on verse 14 because now we going to enter into the rabbit hole. He say, Balaam and Balak cast a stumbling block before Israel. Y'all know what they're referring to?
Yep. Numbers.
Right. In the book of Numbers, when we was in the wilderness and that king was like,
The women?
What?
The women?
guess what? The king that saw us, he was like, man, I heard about these folks. We ain't finna have them come through here.
Right.
He called for a prophet to put a curse on us.
Right.
But the curse ain't go through at that moment.
Yeah, only
You know
we
what I'm
curse
saying?
ourselves at that time.
And if I ain't mistaken, that was a Moabite king, right?
Right. Moabite. Right.
Also in Numbers, we had it talked about how we sinned every time we sat down and ate with the Moabites. We had a feast with them and woke up and sinned.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Because check this out. This stumbling block, let's see how this stumbling block end up. Because I don't know. To me, and I'm not saying this is actual factual, this is me talking. It seemed like that stumbling block didn't work in that moment, but it still came full circle in some type of way. Because it seemed like it was cast before the people in a way. But whole time, let's see what that stumbling block is. Whole time,
Well,
read that verse 14
Balak
again.
never did cast it though. He kept wanting him to cast a stumbling block, but he never did.
So check this out.
Uh-huh.
we finna tie this in with the stumbling block in today's time.
Right.
And why was Balaam and Balak mentioned right here?
Yeah.
Read that verse 14 one more time.
But I have a few things against thee, because thou hast there them that hold the doctrine of Balaam, and who taught Balak to cast a stumbling block before the children of Yasharel, to eat things sacrificed unto idols, and to commit fornication.
So what was the doctrine of Balaam and Balak? To eat things sacrificed to idols and to commit fornication. Did not James in Acts chapter 15 tell them boys, hey,
Right.
this what y'all doing, don't do this.
Right.
Did not Proverbs 23 say what it said magically when we just read it a few minutes ago? All right. So this is why James said that. John was with James at this time. That's why John's saying this, because John is one who scribed the revelation when he was locked up in Patmos. Like I said, all this came out the law. They weren't just saying it out of nowhere. This was a well-known thing in their community. And the community, I like to believe that it was a part of what their sin community. With Yahshua them. Now check this out, verse 15, money.
Right. So hast thou also them that hold the doctrine of Nicolaitans, which I think I hate. How you pronounce that?
Right, Nicholas, the Nicolaitans.
Oh, Nicolaitans. Okay. So hast thou also them that hold the doctrine of the Nicolaitans, which things I hate?
So the most I hate the doctrine of the Nicolaitans, right? Anybody happen to know what the Nicolaitans is? Let me get on. Go ahead.
They had a doctrine. It was like they was like real casual with how they functioned, kind of like, huh?
Just to believe.
Right.
What that sound like?
So,
Right.
You're exactly right. Because I'm finna go to the interlinear concordance and from look at the word Nicholas or the Nicolaitans. Now see, I'm gonna tie this in because I got reason to believe and suspicion that Nicholas was one of the boys that was with Stephan in Acts chapter 7 because he was named there. Remember, it said he was a proselyte. Y'all know what a proselyte is, right?
A new convert.
Right, a new convert. Maybe Nicholas, and they said of Antioch. When you go do your research on Nicholas of Antioch, it sounded a lot like this person who probably would have started his own church based off of when he was with those seven spirit-filled holy men. He went to go do his own thing because a lot of them people branched off and started their own little ministries and stuff.
Right.
So now we're reading about some doctrine of the Nicolaitans, and just so happened this boy named Nicholas, who was a proselyte from Antioch, was at the scene and he had been around. Is it possible he started his own ministry? Also, the word Antioch, he was from Antioch. Who else was in Antioch? Paul and Barnabas.
Right.
All right, now we're finna make a connection, right? I'm going to go to the interlinear concordance. Let's see. And I'm going to hit on this word, Nicolaitans. Oh, Lord, I went to the wrong thing. Yeah. Whole time. It says, so, we got the Greek word for Nicolaitans, but it say equals destruction of people. And then it say a sect mentioned in Revelation 2 and 6, verse 15, who were charged with holding the error of Balaam, casting a stumbling block before the church of Elohim, by upholding the liberty of eating things sacrificed to idols, as well as committing fornication. Now, the reason why I'm tying that in with Paul, because like I mentioned earlier, Nicholas was a proselyte from Antioch, same place where Paul had his ministry at. I wonder if them boys had cahoots. Not only that, Paul taught the same thing that Nicholas was obviously teaching, a liberty of eating whatever before you. Just don't ask a question for conscience sake.
And they were called Christians there too.
They were called Christians then, right? Because that's when they first were called it, at Antioch. All right. All right, so we got people like Nicholas, Paul, Marcion.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, man, we got to get into the history of this stuff for real.
Yeah.
And we say, I ain't going to lie, because most people in this truth came out of Christianity. But sometimes we hold on to things and not knowing, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
In a certain tradition.
You gotta unlearn to learn. So you gotta
Unlearn to relearn.
Yep.
Exactly. Before you plant a seed, you got to till the soil.
get all the loose
And so we gotta get to the root of the truth, man. Before we rise to the Garden of Eden, we ain't that naked, right? We gotta strip down. You gotta be naked before you put on clothes, white linen. You know what I'm saying? So check this out. Let's finish on Revelation chapter 2 out, man. Verse 16.
Repent, or else I will come unto thee quickly, and I will fight against them with the sword of my mouth. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches. To him that overcomes will I give to eat the hidden manna, and will give him a white stone, and in that stone a new name written, which no man knoweth, saith he that receiveth it. And unto the angel of the church of Thyatira write, these things said the son of Elohim, that his eyes like unto a flame of fire, and his feet are like fine brass. I know thy works and charity and service in faith, and thy patience in thy works, and the last to be more than the first.
All right, let's do it. Verse 20.
Notwithstanding, I have a few things against thee, because thou servest that woman Jezebel, which calleth herself a prophetess, to teach and seduce my servants to commit fornication and to eat things sacrificed unto idols.
Man, according to John, the Most High ain't playing about fornication and eating things sacrificed to idols. Now, you know what I'm saying? If you get into other ideologies, you know what I'm saying? That's one of the first things that you conquer in your walk, your spiritual walk, your sexual lust and your food lust. You know what I'm saying? Apparently, that's the most low vibrational thing out there. Yeah. And the Most High ain't saying about that according to what we read and what John said in Revelation chapter 2, ain't? Not only that, what James said in Acts chapter 15. Not only that, what the Torah and the Tanakh say.
They all line up together.
All right, that's what I'm saying. So now, let every word be established, right? They keep on going with it.
And I gave her space to repent of her fornication, and she repented not. Behold, I will cast her into a den, and them that commit adultery with her into a great tribulation, except they repent of their deeds.
Because the stumbling block was put before people. I don't know. To me, I'm making the connection. What Cuz said in 1 Corinthians 10 was seemed like a stumbling block in some sense. I'm riding with James, Peter, and John. I'm just say that, but what's that?
Nah, it's just when you read these things and what it's saying, you know, talk about a lot of times it called Babylon the whore, right? And we grew up being married or committed to this land, you know, and still having to be out of covenant with these things. So when I see this, it's almost like he's talking to us too, right now.
Yeah,
because we dealing with these things right now too. We dealing with trying to get out of these things, messing with this. You know how they call her a whore. That's what she is. So you can see it just like that, and we can't be in covenant with this and the Most High.
Exactly, bro. Ezekiel 16, the works of an imperious whore woman. We out here committing fornication with so many spirits, so many. I ain't even gonna lie. I started thinking that deep is kind of what you just said. Like, what is these contracts when our mamas carry us through water for 40 weeks, and we arrive to the birth and give birth, and she had labor, and they got to unload this product. Then we get a contract put on us, a manifestation called a birth certificate. Just like at the ship's dock, they get a birth certificate. You see what I'm saying? After they went through the waters. What is these things that we putting ourselves on? What is a SSN? Feel me? Social Security number. What is the birth certificate? What are we in contract with?
It's called Gilgal, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Speak on that. It's a constant cycle.
Mm.
It is not changing. They're doing the same thing. They just repeat. So it's the same thing they did before. It's just another. It's a hamster wheel.
You know what's so crazy though? The thing about it though, that's how you know it's all come down to spells, because ain't number words on these documents, right? International Maritime Admiralty, and when lawyers and attorneys are able to speak legalese and say words that we don't understand, like the word understand, do you stand under the law? You see what I'm saying? Under their law.
Your name is in all caps. Notice on
your straw
your birth
man.
certificate, that's a corporation. You're a corporation. Mm-hmm. Your name is a corp. That's why when you die, it's a corp.
You a corpse, right? Because you a corporation. And so, boom, they cashing out on us, right? Boom. They let me know, man, I ain't gonna lie, like, I don't know what's the degree of us being Kodesh. Kodesh meaning set apart, like, we gotta go that far to becoming sovereign or something like that? Because to me,
that's that's what it is. If we're gonna go according to the Torah and be really set apart and live on this right here, for real.
Yeah.
Instead of their laws and stuff,
Yeah.
because that's contrary to the law of the Most High.
Yeah. Well, we're hopefully when the arm of salvation revealed, Isaiah 52 say we're gonna see eye to eye. We're gonna hash it out then. Y'all looking for the two witnesses? Okay. I ain't gonna lie. That's a whole nother topic. You know, we gonna go into a real rabbit hole then, dealing with the U.S. corporation. Yeah, they playing with us. It's all good. Where we at with?
23. And I will kill her children with death, and all her churches shall know that I am he which searcheth the reins and heart. And I will give thee unto every one of you according to your works. But unto you I say, and unto the rest of Israel, as many as have not this doctrine, and which have not known the depths of Hashatan as they speak, I will put upon you none of the birds, but that which ye have already hold fast till I come.
Yeah.
And he that overcometh and keepeth my words unto the end, to him will I give power over the nation. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron, as the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father. And I will give him the morning star, and he that hath the ear, let him hear what the Lord saith unto the church.
All right. So if y'all picked up what was putting down in Revelation chapter 2, you know what I'm saying? That's what we taking heed to. Sometimes people read Revelation 2, chapter 2, they might not be picking up what's being put down. But anyway, back in the spirit of the lesson, what we talking about, we are investigating our brother Saul of Tarsus. Let's go to Galatians chapter 1. Let's see his testimony, or from his point of view. Little man Paul. That's what I heard his name mean. Like, well, in Greek, smaller stature. See, it ain't. I don't reckon there's nothing wrong with the brother Paul, but it's just like, do y'all agree with General Yohanan? Like, he might be, you know, in this walk, but not everybody you agree with that's holding leadership in Israel. At that time, Paul had some form of a leadership, and he had Gnostics up under him that was doing their thing. So I'll be trying not to make Paul seem like a bad person. I just want people to see like the reality in it.
Right.
Like, he had opposition and obvious strife with James, Peter, and John, who were the three pillars.
Right.
And he had no respect for them.
Right.
And I'm just saying, who y'all riding with? Paul or the people that Yahshua left behind the template for?
Pillars.
Right? Let's look at this, right? Most of the New Testament is Paul's letters. Right? Whenever the Gospels was during these different councils, the Council of Carthage, the Council of Nicaea, the Council of Hippo, whenever the Romans was trying to determine how this one religion in Rome was going to function, they took the most palatable things, right? What James, Peter, and John were probably teaching, probably seemed a little bit too hardcore for them. Paul was easy going with it. And he had notoriety and fame out there in Rome anyway, because of him having his kinsmanship with Idumea.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you talking about kinsmanship.
Yeah, kinsmanship with Idumea and citizenship with Rome.
Right.
And that's a whole nother topic too, because a lot of people may not know that. I'm not saying Paul was an Edomite, but he was related to Herod. You know what I'm saying? According to him, in his own words, Romans chapter 16. But see, at that time, when they was formalizing this Bible, and they're getting a paper from this place called Biblos, and they said, oh, this is going to be the book of Christianity. They put most of Paul's letters in there, because like I say, it was easy going to them. But not only that, James, Peter, and John was a little bit too hardcore. And these are the people that Yahshua left the ministry behind. Why we don't have more letters from James or more things that ascribe to their idea? You said you see more Paul, who never met Yahshua. He never met him. Y'all knew that, right?
Yeah.
He never met him.
He claimed he got knocked off a horse.
And that story was contradicted 3 different times. He told that story in 3 different ways.
Yeah.
One moment he said somebody was with him and they were both blind. And next moment he said he was the only one blind. They only heard a voice. I'm saying he contradicted himself within that. And if he was in the interrogation room, he getting locked up because your story ain't lining up, G. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to charge that to whoever possibly scribed it, because I don't know if Paul was scribing his own writings. Maybe he was. But we going to just charge it to we being at the mercy of the translators.
You said that in the book of Romans, it says another dude is really the author of the book, writing the book of Romans. If you look in Romans, he said I wrote this. I forgot the dude's name, but he right there in the book of Romans mentioned. So yeah, I have to look it up. But yeah, he's mentioned right in the book of Romans.
You finna say something, Matt? I was gonna say like right. Historically speaking, when y'all get into like looking at people like Josephus, Jerome, and they can attest to certain journalists that was around during the time of the first century. So Peter and Paul, they had a lot of affairs, man. They was back and forth with a lot of words. And this boy named Clement of Rome, he was journalizing and documenting what Peter and Paul had got going on. So Second Peter just period is ascribed to Clement, and a lot of people don't know that. Peter ain't actually right, but that what Clement was saying Peter was speaking about during that time. So even when y'all read 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 15, and they mention Paul, that was from the perspective of Clement, not actually Peter. 2 Peter was written after Peter was dead.
Oh,
you got it?
Yes, in Romans 16th chapter and the 22nd verse.
Oh, yeah. Oh, let me see that. Oh, Lord, look at that. Yeah, eat that up.
Okay, 16 chapter 2. 16, wait, 20, wait, verse. Oh, yeah, I see 22, yeah. I've careless churches who wrote this epistle to Lucian and Yahoo.
Boom. So that's what I'm saying. We're gonna charge it to whoever scribed Paul's writings. And we can charge it that, if his story ain't lining up in regards to how he came into truth. Y'all know, historically speaking, you know what I'm saying, Paul was learning Torah and passing because he was a bounty hunter in a certain sect of Pharisee temple. The man was catching bodies, bro. Now let's do this right here. Imagine Adolf Hitler catching buku bodies. No. Let's imagine Leopold of France catching millions of bodies in Africa. It then said, boom, y'all, I had a revelation.
Right.
I ain't gonna kill y'all no more. But I had a revelation that I was y'all apostle, and y'all gotta listen to me. How many Africans gonna listen to Leopold after you done just killed that man? All right.
That's why he went outside of the camp. He went outside of the people to preach to other peoples something that he quote unquote got taught through the Most High.
Right. So when Paul had his conversion, that he was now the apostle of some Israelites, that he was just goddamn killing, and not just Israelites, but we'll say Nazarene Israelites, people who follow the way of Yahshua. Now he's saying he the apostle of y'all, and I got the real gospel of Yahshua, and I met him myself. You know what I'm saying? Like really telling James that who grew in the house with Yahshua.
Right.
That's it, brother. This man, brother, dead, and you come to him like, I know I ain't never met him, but I met him as a ghost, and he told me that what you saying is ain't right, bro. I just need to have faith and believe in him. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie, bro. That kind of delulu, but if your delulu want to come true, let it be true. Whole time. Now I'm saying we got brother under investigation right now. With all that being said, like the Leopold example. This is why, like, it was strife from the get-go, and they tried to deal with Paul at one time, but then he ended up breaking off and like, man, no, forget this, I'm going to do my own thing. Then him and Barnabas went about their way, and they broke off. He said, no, I ain't agreeing with you either.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is why y'all see the ministry being started up, because, you know what I'm saying? Now we're going to go to Galatians chapter 1. James, Peter, and John were kind of standoffish because they were like, bro, you just got done killing my people. What you talking about? You know, they tried to deal with him though.
But they told him to clean himself.
Yeah, they did. I mean, if y'all want to get extra funky, we can get into some of them historical books from these early church fathers when they said Paul ended up killing James. Puts him on the top temple, but I ain't gonna do that. We're gonna stick to scripture, you know what I'm saying?
Come on, dog.
But I don't know how true that is. We gotta line that up. They say not kill him, but he pushed him on the steps and broke his back apparently. We can do that from the top. Cause right now what we finna read, he writing his letter and he finna start telling his story from his perspective, especially in regards to that meeting that he just had with James, Peter, and John. Yeah, he finna say, man, these boys ain't, that meeting went worth nothing to me. Basically, we gonna see that.
Ready? From the top.
Yeah.
Paul, an apostle, not of men, neither by men, but of Yahshua HaMashiach and Elohim the Father, Jehovah, who raised him from the dead, and all the brethren which are with me unto the churches of Galatia. Grace be to you and peace from Elohim the Father and from our Master, Yahshua HaMashiach.
I'm so sorry, y'all. I want to expound on this verse. He said, Paul, an apostle, not of man, neither by man, but by Yahshua. The reason why he is saying he is an apostle, not of man,
right?
Because in reality,
right,
he know James, Peter, and John was accepted by the men in their area, not of all men, but just the people that they was over. So he's saying like, yeah, y'all got authority, but man, I have a spiritual, philosophical authority. And again, he was never an apostle,
right?
Not a man,
right?
You feel me? But a spookism. Go to Acts chapter 1. We're gonna come back. We're gonna come right back. Go to Acts chapter 1. We finna see. We finna see what I mean by he not an apostle.
Right.
And we start at Acts chapter 1, verse 20. This crazy because Joe, a couple years ago, we were downtown Jacksonville. I don't know if you remember, but this IOG dude came up to us right before we heard that shooting or whatever that was. Brother from IOG came up to us. He was like, Paul the apostle, Paul the apostle. I said, was he really an apostle? He said, yeah. He was the 12 apostles.
Ooh,
and we pulled this right here on. We pulled this on. All right, you feel me? Let's do it. What do black and white say?
You say verse 20?
Yeah.
For it is written in the book of Psalms, let his habitation be desolate, and let no man dwell therein, and his bishopric let in another take.
Y'all happen to know what they talking about? Let another man take his position, basically. Right. Talking about Judas the scary cat.
Right.
Yeah. Verse 21.
Wherefore,
when Acts chapter 1.
Verse 20.
21.
Yeah.
Wherefore of these men which have company with us all the time that Master Yahshua went in and out among us.
That's the first requirement to be an apostle right there, y'all. You had to be with them all the time from the time that Yahshua was started his ministry to the end of his ministry. Because let's keep this in mind, y'all. Unlike what the movie showed, it wasn't just Yahshua and 12 boys walking.
Right.
They had a lot of people with them. They had like 120 men with the 12 apostles, but the 12 apostles was like the legislators, like they the one running it.
Right.
I'm saying, like, get into reality. They the mafia, they the mob at this time. You know what I'm saying? So out of the other 120 men that were with y'all, we finna pick an apostle out of these people. Basically, what they saying, you had to sit at your kneecap. You just can't come up and be self-appointed apostle, leader, or nothing. You had to go through the ranks, and this is why I think it's kind of imperative for us to institute now. You know what I'm saying? But go ahead.
Beginning from the baptism of John, until the same day that he was taken up from us, must one or be ordained to be a witness with us of his resurrection.
You had to be seen when he got baptized, and then when he had his ascension. Plain and simple. Did Paul see that, y'all? No. All right, let's do it.
And they appointed two, Joseph called Barsabbas, who was surnamed Justice, and Matthias. And they prayed and said, Thou, Master, which knowest the hearts of all men, show whether of these two thou hast chosen, that he may take part of this ministry and apostleship from which Judas by transgression fell, that he might go to his own place. And they gave forth their lot, and the lot fell upon Matthias, and he was numbered with the 11 apostles.
All right, boom. Was Paul in there anywhere? You had Justice and Matthias. Matthias was named with the 12 because the lot fell on him. Do y'all happen to know what that lot was? Y'all ever heard of Urim and Thummim?
Right.
Yeah.
Said that.
The ancient dice that are even in the temple, the priests used to use that to make decisions. You feel me? But they threw them dice and it landed on Matthias. So was Paul the 12th apostle or was Matthias the 12th apostle? All right, boom. So this is why Paul said, an apostle, but not according to men, because he knew he went through the ranks like that. So when he came and said calling, he ain't even go to Jerusalem where he was supposed to check in. He went do his own thing. But let's read that. Galatians chapter 1 more again.
Paul, an apostle, not of men, neither by men, but by Yahshua HaMashiach and Elohim the Father, who raised him from the dead. And all the brethren which are with me unto the churches of Galatia. Grace be to you and peace from Elohim the Father and from the Master Yahshua HaMashiach, who gave himself for our sins, that he might deliver us from this present evil world, according to the will of Elohim our Father. To whom be glory forever and ever. Amen.
All right, introduction to the letter. Let's do it.
I marvel that ye are so soon removed from him that called you into the grace of Mashiach unto another gospel, which is not another, but there be some that trouble you, and will pervert the gospel of Mashiach.
All right, boom. So now he's speaking about, he said somebody else got a gospel out here, y'all. And he's saying this is the perversion of the gospel. Who was the other people that would have had the gospel out here if it wasn't him? Maybe the people that was Yahshua, teaching Yahshua gospel. Who was the other people? Let's do it. Let's read that.
But through we, or an angel from heaven, preach any other gospel unto you than that which we have preached unto you, let him be accursed.
And he said, whoever these people is that preaching the gospel that you ain't hearing from my mouth, let them be accursed. He put a curse on them. Y'all see that with your own eye, right? All right. What's up?
As we said before, so say I now. Again, if any man preach another gospel unto you than that ye have received, let him be accursed.
Double curse. If anybody preaching a gospel that you ain't heard me saying something like, bruh, they cursed. Yeah. It was Paul saying from his mouth. You read it? Yeah. All right.
So contrary to that, you think about when Yahshua was with the disciples, right? The disciples came running to him and say, man, there's somebody out here talking about they teaching the gospel or whatever. And then Yahshua had to, and Yahshua had to rebuke his disciples to let them, hey, he doing, y'all don't know him, but that don't mean he's not a part of us. Somewhere like that. He would tell them, don't. Go ahead.
What he said was they came in and basically was like, should we set this man down? And
right.
He said, if he's not against us,
right,
he's with us.
Right.
And I'm like, that's deep.
Right. Because they were trip setting like the way he's trip setting right here.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Set tripping, yeah.
Set tripping, yeah.
Everything in the morning. Yeah. So I'm saying it's real gang warfare going on right now. And Paul.
And he ain't even saying what it is that these other men are teaching contrary. It's just the fact that they ain't come from me.
They ain't came from me.
Right.
If you ain't A-Trey Crip,
right,
you ain't Nathan.
Right.
All right?
That's the same dynamic. He say, follow me even as I follow HaMashiach. Like, who says something like that?
Tupac, follow me. And he said that in Hail Mary.
Right. Oh.
Right. All right. So, See, now now. Let's look at this, y'all. I'm saying we looking at it from a historical lens.
Right.
Not from a lens of
religion.
Right. Or Galatians is the word of God. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Let's do with history. Come on, let's read that. Next verse, where we was at?
Okay. For do I now persuade men or Elohim? Or do I seek to please men? For if I please men, I should not be the servant of Hamashiach.
What mean he's trying to please, though? What's up? What you finna say?
I'm just
I was just wondering when you're gonna read the place where you say, "I please all men."
We can get to that for sure.
Okay. He said the exact opposite of what he said right here.
So what that would sound like to me, if he was in the interrogation room, boy, they could be like,
right.
All right. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Get that next verse.
But I certify you, brethren, that the gospel which was preached of me is not after man. For I neither received it of man, neither was I taught it, but by the revelation of Hamashiach Christ.
Let me tell you something. Who that said that? John Henry Clark. He basically said you can't trust a man who don't answer to nobody. You see what I'm saying? Like, I imagine, boy, somebody just come up out of nowhere and be like, bro, I'm the Christ. You feel me? Like, or you go to apply to be a doctor and you ain't got no resume. Feel what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes that's needed, bro. So you to work your way through the ranks. That's how life is. Would you want somebody to do surgery on you that never can show a resume of them going through medical school and having other experiences like that? You know what I'm saying? So as he's saying this, that's all I'm thinking about. Bro, I ain't speaking about nothing what man taught me. You know what I'm saying? This came from a ghost. That's what he's saying. Hey, dog, I say we dealing with real life right now. I just want, you know what I'm saying? We can get it to the philosophical side later.
Yeah, that's
right. You finna go somewhere, Josiah?
No, I was trying to find where he said how he pleased all men.
Yeah, find that for sure. Yeah, we'll do that.
All right. For ye have heard of my conversion in times past in the Yahudi religion, how that beyond measure I persecuted the church of Elohim and wasted it.
Verse 14.
And profited in the Yahudim religion above many of my equals in my own nation, being more exceedingly zealous of the traditions of my fathers.
So now he boasts, he putting himself up. Hey, he talking to the Gentile like, bro, where I'm from, I'm that boy. I'm that man, cuz. Man, I was seated more great than everybody else. And Tane, Peter, John, and whoever else you might want to name.
all the Negroes.
All right.
Hey, but so go back to that verse we just read.
All right. About the pleasing.
Yeah.
That was verse 10. Read it.
For do I now persuade men or Elohim? Or do I seek to please men? For if I yet please men, I should not be the servant of my Mashiach.
So he don't please men right here.
He said, if I do please man,
he is not a servant.
He's not a servant.
Uh-huh.
So that's 1 Corinthians 10 and 33.
Uh-oh. Let's see here. Yeah, hit that 1 Corinthians 10 and 33. Let's line that up.
10:23. Okay. All things are lawful for me, but
Where you at?
33.
10:23.
33.
Okay, I'm sorry. 33. Even as I please all men in all things, not seeking my own profit, but the profit of many, that they may be saved.
Yo, that contradicts itself.
Way contradictory.
In itself. So that's how you confuse me.
Yeah. Moral of the story, y'all. I said 80-20. That's what we need.
Right.
You know, on the profit.
Right.
What we doing right now is a scholarly comparison. That's all. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not kicking against any of Paul's letters because he got some fire stuff in there.
Right.
Chew the fruit, spit the seeds out.
Right.
I just want y'all to know historically what y'all dealing with when you read it.
So, like, when I read that one, like, without thinking about that next one, that kind of contrary, so when I read this verse, I see it as pleasing men, but not as, like, making them happy, but doing what's necessary for them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's what's going to save somebody, is giving them what they need. That's how I see him saying pleasing in this. Now, I'm not looking at the contrary one. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you look at the contrary one, it do look iffy. You know what I'm saying? But just looking at off of this, what he's saying, because even before that, he said 23, like he was reading, all things are lawful, but not all things are expedient. So he basically saying, you can do this and that, but it ain't good for you. So it sounds like he's saying, I please all men. Basically, I give them what they need that they may be saved.
Right.
And I see it as that, like I said, but without the contrary part. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But
So
that's really that was just how Paul was. Because you have to understand he was not a disciple, so he did not have the hands-on per se. But I feel as though he was just doing the best he could with the little bit of knowledge that he did have, and with the zeal to try to go out and do what we're supposed to be doing.
yeah,
He might have not did it the correct way, but at the same time, when he came across a certain person acting a certain way, he would act like them so he could communicate with them. He would try to get on different people's levels. So
so he could, yeah, exactly. So, but it is contrary though in Galatians, because you can't serve two masters. But
right, you can't please all.
Yeah, in scripture, it's almost like he should have just stated, "I please men by pleasing the Father," which I think that's in the scripture. But somebody else said that. If I please the Most High, I please all men around me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So
for sure that. Like I said earlier, though, I'm gonna give my respect to Paul in regards to he had zeal, he had intellect. You know what I'm saying? Remember, he had Roman citizenship. He can probably afford to go to the best schools around. You know what I'm saying? This is why that pride crept in when dealing with the James people, like because they was less literate.
They was street.
They were more gangster.
Yeah.
And so he coming from a perspective of, hey man, I went to Harvard. What y'all talking about?
That's right. I speak more languages than all y'all.
Yeah. And he said that.
Right.
Carton, he's rich. Will come from, the streets.
Yeah. Right, exactly. So that's exactly right. Y'all know, like, in my head, when I think about James, I think about like how lowly the rosters in Jamaica live, but in their head it's all righteousness. It's out of righteousness.
Right.
And shoot, man, I wish I would have brought so you can read in the Clementine homily how, feel me, different historians were documenting that James, bro, he spent all his days in the temple praying for Yasharel. His kneecaps are hardened. Calluses on, I guess that's the word. When you...
Yeah, hard.
Yeah, it was hardened.
Yeah.
And that he spent so many days in there that he ain't do like no luxury baths like everybody else. Bro might hop in that water, hop straight back out. Feel me? Every now and then, but that type person James was, and say he will consecrate his birth as a Nazarite. So, you know what I'm saying? I can imagine the boy probably abstained from, you feel me, things come from the vine, or they had the, you know what I'm saying, the long wicks. So, boom, that's what the historians documented James did. So, in my head, I think about how the roster may look, you know what I'm saying, compared to somebody who would come down looking like, I don't know how to name the word, or Marcus Garvey, who more looking better when he come to Jamaica, you know what I'm saying? Paul will be that person. Smelling good, looking good, man. I got a good education. I'm that. You feel me? Up at it. So that was Paul. That what he was, G. Is it what it is?
I think the problem is that Christians use Paul's letters as doctrine. That's what they use as their doctrine instead of using the prophets and all of that. That's where the problem lies, and that's all they use as their doctrine.
Right.
And that's a problem. We should never use that as the doctrine. We should use that as the.
But even he say that himself though. In First or Second Timothy, he says that.
But why people don't know that because of lack of reading comprehension, correct? This is why a conversation like this is imperative.
Right.
They don't study the scriptures like
exactly. It go back to Isaiah 8 and 20. If what Paul's saying ain't lining up with the Torah, I don't know if I can take that.
And it doesn't line up with their appetites either.
Yeah, for sure. For sure that. Like I said, like this is the only reason we having this conversation, because obviously this is a stumbling block within the people right now. And you got so many religions come out of this idea. Well, I can do whatever I want. I'm free. I have liberty. But I ain't gonna lie, I ain't never seen anything free in life, bro. Consequence come behind everything. Ain't nothing free. But everybody free and have liberty. And the Most out here against that. No, you ain't. I done set boundaries and ordinances in the earth, and you disrespecting it. But you gonna get disrespected when nature kick in. You know what I'm saying? Shoot. In Revelation 11:18, I'm gonna destroy those that destroy the earth. That's what he said. You feel me? And we destroy the earth in so many ways just by being lawless. Now you ain't got to just throw it on trash out, bro. You just being lawless in general, bro. If I go out here thinking I can cap anybody I want, pop, shooting everybody, you polluting the land with innocent blood. They go back to the law. Even back then, you had places outside of Jerusalem, 3 cities. You can't spill innocent blood in Jerusalem. If I accidentally kill somebody and somebody's family was gonna get me, bro, I gotta go to this city. If they gonna get me, I gotta be there. City of refuge. Gilead. Right? You know what I'm saying? So the Most High, he ain't playing about defiling his land. That's why the land kicked us out. Because it spewed us out. We went in tune, in harmony with the ordinances that he put for the land. Because it's a connection between the Most High and the land, too. The land is alive.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
The land is alive, and you feel me? Like Isaiah say, Psalm say, shoot, even the wind rejoices for the Most High, the water. And if we being lawless, we not understanding. And to me, I ain't gonna lie, I was just having a conversation the other day. You feel me? Torah is much deeper than even what we read in here. This is why the purpose of why the Most High sent Navim, prophets. And Malachi, he said, seek the law of the mouth of the prophet because they can expound on it. Nehemiah chapter 8, Nehemiah and Ezra stood up and reading the law, but not only they read it, but they interpreted it. This is necessary because if you're not understanding how Torah or instruction go deeper than what you're reading, so you falling short. It's Torah everywhere. It's Torah on this building right now. If I jump out of this building, I'm going to fall and hurt myself. It's a law governing gravity saying I'm going to fall, G. You know what I'm saying? It's a law saying I shouldn't jump out there and move in water because I'm going to go with it. Law go deep whole time, and that's why I think it's imperative for the Most High sending ambassadors like Shemaiah, Yeshua, because you need it to hear from the mouth of the prophet like Malachi 2 and 7 say, boom. Let's get back to it. Galatians chapter 1. And we was at verse.
I
think it's 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's 10.
No.
Pick it up at 11. Oh.
You said pick it up at 11?
Yeah, that's right after the
Yeah, mine will.
Okay. But I certify you, brethren, that the gospel which was preached of me is not after man. For I neither received it of man, neither was I taught it, but by the revelation of Yeshua HaMashiach. For ye have heard of my conversation in times past in Yahudi religion, how that beyond measure I persecuted the church of Elohim and wasted it, and profited in the Jews and the Yahudi's religion above many of my equals in my own nation, being more exceedingly zealous of the traditions of my fathers. But when it pleased Elohim, who separated me from my mother's womb, and called me by his grace, to reveal his son in me, that I might preach him among the heathen. Immediately I conferred not with the flesh and blood.
Stop real quick. Verse 15, he said he was separated from his mama's womb. I'm going to let y'all know, according to Gospels I can show y'all, especially Nazarene writers, that was given to James, Yeshua, and all his siblings as well. They were separated from their mama's womb, referring to a Nazarite vow. But I find it interesting that he put that on himself as well. Not saying that he wasn't separated. I find that very interesting, knowing what I see with James. But go ahead. Verse 16, matter of fact, hold on real quick. He said to reveal son in me, that I might preach him among the heathen, like Peter job was. We know that. Immediately I conferred not with flesh and blood. That's the heavy hitter right there. Because remember, he woke up to his calling, and he ain't go to where he was supposed to. He ain't go confer with flesh and blood, meaning check in with the apostles. Where he went? Somewhere else. But keep on reading.
Neither went I up to Jerusalem to them which were apostles before me, but I went to Arabia and returned again into Damascus.
So he went to Arabia. He didn't go check in with the rest of the people that was doing the ministry. Go ahead.
Then after 3 years, I went up to Jerusalem to see Peter and abode with him 15 days.
Now, I find that very interesting as well, because a lot of the disciples that was around the apostles at that time, man, they was going through years and years of sitting at their kneecaps.
Right.
They ain't just go to chill with them boys for 15 days. Man, you had to be a student going through the ranks, like I keep saying, for years.
And what was his intention of going there?
All right.
Uh-huh.
So boom. Let's keep reading.
Okay.
And we got him under investigation. Right now.
Right.
What was his reason for going there?
Right.
But other of the apostles saw none, save James, the master's brother.
Why? Because he had to check in with James. James one of the top boys. You know what I'm saying?
Now the things which I write unto you, behold, before Elohim I lie not.
And y'all gonna keep seeing the theme throughout all of his letters. He gonna always say, I lie not, I tell you the truth.
Right.
Why do he gotta keep saying that? Maybe because in James he was referred to as the lying tongue. Maybe he gotta keep reassuring or confirming himself with his audience, because they hearing through the wind something different. Again, that's why he was saying, y'all might hear doctrines of devils, but this is what I'm saying. Because he know the word getting around that, hold on, Paul, you might not be who you told us you was back at your house, at your place. Feel me? They hearing through the wind something different. So, I lie not. Go ahead.
Afterwards, I came into the regions of Syria and Cilicia, and I was unknown by faith unto the churches of Judea, which were in Mashiach. But they had heard only that he which persecuted us in times past now preaches the faith which once he destroyed, and they glorify Elohim in me.
All right, boom. Chapter 2, we get that context.
Then 14 years after, I went up again to Jerusalem with Barnabas, and took Titus with me also. And I went up by revelation and communicated unto them that gospel which I preached among the Gentiles, but privately to them which were of reputation, lest by any means I should run or had run in vain.
Now let's see if y'all been paying attention. What he referring to in chapter 2, we had read it earlier. That was Acts chapter 15. We finna see him telling his story from his perspective about what happened at this meeting in Acts chapter 15. Right? So we saw what happened in the meeting with James, Peter, John, and the rest of the Pharisees when they met with Paul and Barnabas and gave their decree. Now he finna tell the meeting from his perspective. Read verse 2 one more again.
And I went up by revelation and communicated unto them the gospel which I preached among the Gentiles.
Right? Y'all remember reading that in Acts 15? He was telling them what he did with the Gentiles.
Right. But privately to them which were of reputation, lest by any means I should run or had run in vain. But neither Titus, who was with me, being a Greek, was compelled to be circumcised.
Remember, that was the context of the meeting.
Right.
Titus was with him. They're trying to figure out what they're going to do about circumcision. Go ahead.
And that because of false brethren unawares brought in, who came in privately to spy out our liberty, which we have in Yahshua, that they might bring us into bondage.
Y'all know, he said he had spies with him. Y'all peep game how James and them sent 2 other men with Paul and Barnabas.
Right.
And he was calling them spies. He like, I know you sitting there with me, but is they spies?
Right.
They're showing you, Paul is also showing you who has authority at this time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, go ahead.
To whom we gave place by subjection, no, not for an hour, that the truth of the gospel might continue with you. But of these who seem to be somewhat...
Wait, hold on. If it get crazy, cool. Hold on. Before I go there. Verse 5, when he said, to whom we gave place by subjection, meaning I wasn't under y'all. No, not for an hour. I wasn't listening to y'all. I wasn't, you feel me? Y'all ain't had no authority over me. That the truth of the gospel might continue with you. But what? Verse 6.
But of these who seem to be somewhat, whatsoever they were, it maketh no matter to me.
Ooh.
Elohim accepted no man's person. For they who seem to be somewhat in conference added nothing to me.
He said, whoever these people is, bro, they don't mean nothing to me. They might mean something to y'all.
Right.
Referring to who? Yahshua, brother. And his others who partner, Peter and John. They don't mean nothing to me. And what he said? He said, they who seems to be somewhat in conference added nothing to me. So in that meeting, bro, they ain't told me nothing I need to really hear. when he just gave you a decree of what you need to be teaching to the Gentiles. Y'all, it was a war during that time, G. Yeah. Hey, verse 7.
But contrariwise, when they saw that the gospel of the uncircumcision was committed unto me, as the gospel of the circumcision was unto Peter, for he that wrought effectively in Peter to the apostleship of the circumcision, the same was mighty in me towards the Gentiles. Mm-hmm. And when James, Cephas, and John, who seemed to be pillars.
Who seemed to be the who?
Seemed to be pillars.
Remember I said they was the pillars of the apostles. The three, you always have 3 pillars amongst 12 legislators. Right. And he said who seemed to be the pillars. Right. Alright, disrespectful, man. Right. So if anybody say that no, he ain't talking about James, Peter, John, he just named them. Right. Right. That's exactly who he was talking about in 1 Timothy 4 as well when he talking about somebody preaching doctrine of the devil. Because you saw what he told them in Acts 15. Alright.
Received the grace that was given unto me, they gave to me Barnabas the right hand of fellowship, that we should go into the heathen, and they unto the circumcision. Only they were that we should remember the poor, the same which I also was forward to do. But when Peter was come to Antioch, I withstood him to the face, because he was to be blamed.
All right, boom. So now he's saying, hey, me, Paul, I pulled up on Peter and I confronted him because I ain't like what he did. Now he finna tell the story.
All right. For before the certain came from James, he did eat with the Gentiles, but when they were come, he withdrew and separated himself, fearing them which were of the circumcision.
All right, boom. So he basically saying when Peter was sitting down eating with the Gentiles, possibly eating meats off of the idols, which James didn't want playing about. As you can see in verse 12, James them on the way, the part of circumcision. And when he said, according to Paul, right, Peter got up and ran. Got up out of there. Read that one more time, verse 12.
For behold, that certain came from James, he did eat with the Gentiles, but when they were come, he withdrew and separated himself, fearing them which were of the circumcision.
Why? Because these boys is the authoritative people in this time, the circumcision. But this is what he given to the Pharisees or in the people that was with them, which was James, Peter, and John. This section of Pharisees, I gotta specify and say that.
And the other Yahudis disassembled likewise with him, insomuch that Barnabas also was carried away with this dissimulation. But when I saw that they walked not uprightly according to the truth of the gospel, I said unto Peter before them all, if thou, being a Jew, livest after the manner of Gentiles, and not as do the Yahudis, why compellest thou the Gentiles to live as do the Yahudis?
So he accusing Peter, y'all. But the thing about it, I want to say this, I ain't trying to be messy and need more drama. He accusing Peter. We don't know if what he's saying is true. Because we see he obviously telling his story about this Acts 15 meeting from his perspective. We don't know whether or not James and them tell the truth or Peter telling the truth in regards to this story. He's saying, or Paul telling the truth. He's saying, Peter, man, you out of pocket, bro. That's what he telling Peter. This is the letter he writing. And hoping, I guess, Peter come across this. But go ahead, verse 15.
We who are Yahudis by nature and not sinners of the Gentiles, knowing that a man is not justified by works of the law, but by the faith of Yahshua HaMashiach, even we have believed in Yahshua HaMashiach that we might be justified by the faith of Mashiach, and not by the works of the law. For by the works of the law shall no flesh be justified.
Now, who contradicted this, what he just said? This man said out his mouth that, bro, y'all worry about works and doing the law. He said, bro, all we needed the faith of Mashiach.
Right.
All right. James straight up said, bro, you lying. Or whatever. James chapter 2. He said, no, cuz, I'll show you my faith by my works.
Right.
How about that?
Also, the thing when he went through with Abraham, that was the thing, because he came right behind him and gave that same example of Abraham, showing him that he contradicted himself.
Man, look at that, y'all. It's a war with the pen right now. Yeah. And people don't see this. Yeah. They just think that Galatians were written to them.
Right.
Really, this a whole soap opera you reading in the Bible.
Yeah.
You ain't even know nothing about it. Tell me, bro.
I got a question. That just is man. So I read before. It's called The Ascension of Paul.
That sounds familiar,
Have you
boy.
ever heard that book?
I heard it, but I ain't
It's
read
in
it.
one of them separate books, one of the separate collections.
So no.
And in the book, I think it's called the Shamayims. I think it is. And it talks about the different ones that went to the heavens to see certain things, and they were talking about how Paul was brought up there, and they talk about certain things, and I'm like, man, this got to be true because it's saying how the earth cries out because of our sin.
Yeah.
The moon cries out, the sun in daytime and nighttime, the waters, and it was basically they stating how they want to burn the earth or flood the earth or do all these different things, swallow them up. But the Most High was like, nah, because I desire that men will repent. But they basically like, they sin against each other, but they sin against us more. Like we gotta take all of this. Like basically, if a man commit adultery at nighttime, whatever, the moon gotta watch everybody did it in the world. You know what I'm saying? Gotta experience all of that, and they basically like this is torturing us to the Most High. And it states how when Paul came up there, they hated the world. But when Paul came up there, they said that basically they were glad to see Paul. Yeah. But they wanted to destroy the earth though. So when he came up there, they were pleased to meet him, and these elements literally coming and speak with him and commune with him. I'm like, damn, like so hearing this stuff is like, damn, like what is really going on, man? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That sounds beautiful what you said, but in regards to like giving that much reverence to Paul, that let me know I ain't gonna lie. I hate to sound like this or biased in this way. That is maybe a pseudo picture of the Christian penmanship. See what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Because this is what the church based off of, and we see that ever so clearly.
Exactly.
Feel me? Paul is people God. No cow. Like I wish probably maybe the Ruach could put like content in y'all face after we had this discussion. They're gonna really confirm what we talking about right now, and because it's certain things I can't really go to right now. But if you saw illustrations and stuff like that and other historians speaking, then they gonna be like, "Dang, what were we doing all that time?" You know what I'm saying? But with the Ascension of Paul, like I want to read that for sure.
That's an answer. It just made me think like, if all is going on, and some of the stuff he's doing, it don't even seem right? So it's like, it's like, how can they be so pleased or happy with this man if he's going against these three, like, you know what I'm saying, prominent figures
who's standing on Torah?
Yeah, so it's like he going against them, and maybe he trying his best, but you still going against the grain. You can't even do that. So it makes me think like, man,
it's about establishing.
Like they saying some stuff that's truthful, probably adding their own sauce to certain other things too, because he is saying that he got a vision and seeing certain things, right?
Right.
So in this ascension, it's basically saying how what he saw when he got taken up. So that part it kind of made sense, but that's a deep.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's interesting, even when you read in verse 12, how they said that what was talking about Paul, how he was fearing those which were the circumcision.
Oh, Peter.
Yeah.
Paul was speaking about Peter in that time.
Oh, Paul was speaking about Peter.
Yeah, he was saying, Peter, you were sitting down with them Gentiles and you got up and ran when James came.
Oh, okay. I thought it was
Why
him.
would he read it as his homeboy?
Because whether it's homeboy or not, like, if you see me at the strip club, you're going to be like, bro, what you doing in here?
Yeah. Come up there, you come in there.
He didn't talk about it at that point.
Well, hold on. I'm going to have to ask what you doing in there.
Right. I saw you walk in and I was curious.
Oh, man. No, for real. But see, I don't know. That's the situation. Like I said, like, Peter got the keys to the church. But looking at history, it looked like James had authority.
Right.
Like, people had roles. John had his own type of authority. James had his own type of authority. But James was a big dog. You feel me?
Yeah.
He was that boy. Oh, okay. Let's go Galatians. We ain't finished Galatians out there.
No. Chapter 2, I think about 17.
Yeah, let's do that.
But if, while we seek to be justified by Hamashiach we ourselves are also found sinners. If therefore Hamashiach, the minister of sin, Elohim forbid. For if I build again the things which I destroyed, I make myself a transgressor. For I through the law am dead to the law, that I might live unto Elohim.
All right, boom. Stop real quick. We're gonna try to expedite this real quick. I don't know what time we got. I don't know if we got time. I ain't gonna lie,
The sun's still up.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Us talking about this, I ain't gonna lie. I've been here all day for real slick. Okay, buku scripture. Like I said, we reading history, context. We ain't just cherry picking right now. We investigating. We lining it up. What I want to do is go to 1 Corinthians chapter 9. Let's do that.
But then he also contradicts himself in that 16th verse too. Romans 2nd chapter, he said, not the hearers of the law are justified, but the doers of the law are
Dang.
justified.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Let's see Paul defend himself as we continue in this so far. Wait, before we go to 1 Corinthians, I want to go to Titus, man. Titus chapter 1. Remember who he referred to as the part of the circumcision? He named them James, Keeper, and John. That is hard. So no, very appreciate it. Get that flip in you, bro. Yeah. So we in Titus, chapter 1. And they hit that verse 10. Titus 1 and verse 10.
For there are many unruly and vain talkers and deceivers, especially they of the circumcision.
Look at that accusation, man. Oh, man, it's a whole war with words, man. They opping with each other. Same way James would have called him a lying tongue. This man turned around and said the part of the circumcision are vain talkers and deceivers. Great day. Come on with it.
Whose mouths must be stopped.
They got to be stopped.
Who subvert whole houses, teaching things which they ought not, for a filthy lucre's sake. One of themselves, even a prophet of their own, said, the Christians are always liars, evil beasts, slow bellied. This witness is true. Wherefore rebuke them sharply, that they may be sound in faith, not giving heed to Jewish fables and commandments of men that turn from the truth. Unto the pure all things are pure, but unto them that are defiled and unbelieving is nothing pure. But even their mind and conscience is defiled. They profess that they know Elohim, but in works they deny him, being abominable and disobedient, and unto every good work reprobate.
So because of the piety of the party of circumcision, they abstained and they got away from a lot of things because they saw it as an abomination or defilement. Like, you feel me? What it means to be holy, Kodesh. But Paul basically just said, like, when they doing that, what he say, verse 15, he say, unto the pure are all things pure, and unto them that are defiled and unbelieving is nothing pure. So he basically saying, y'all defiled and unbelieving because you think everything around you defiled and or impure. I find that interesting in Titus, how he wrote that to Titus and still, bashing the part of circumcision who we know had a lot to do with James, Peter, and John out of his own mouth. Now we're going to go back to 1 Corinthians 9. Yeah, 1 Corinthians 9. We're going to do this from the top.
Am I not an apostle? Am I not free? Have I not seen Yahshua HaMashiach, our master? Or not ye my work in Yahweh?
Why y'all reckon he talking like that?
Because somebody said contrary to that.
Exactly.
Right.
They hearing through the wind.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, dang, bro. They said you ain't no apostle.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Bro, am I not? All right. Verse 2.
If I be not an apostle unto others, yet doubtless I am to you. For the seal of my apostleship are ye in the master. My answer to them that do examine me is this.
Who examining him? We saw who examined him in previous scriptures or verses. Go ahead.
Have we not power to eat and to drink?
What?
Have we not power to lead about a sister, a wife, as well as other apostles, and as the brethren of Yahuwah and Cephas? Or am I only and Barbers have not we power to forbid working?
Why is he talking like this? Because it's obvious drama that we see. The only reason I'm bringing the drama out, like I say, because I want y'all to be for real. I want everybody, all of us, to be for real about what we read and know like the historical context of what we read. So when you read how the Christians may bring up the letter kill, we finna talk about what letter he's talking about. They're not talking about the law kill, because that's what they would say. You know, Paul ended up trying to allude it to make it seem like that. He wasn't talking about the law or the letter of the law kill. He talking about something different. But we see here, he asking these questions because he got to retell his audience, like, bro, like, y'all, I was learned by the spirit realm, not by men. Have we not power to eat and drink? You know what I'm saying? This going back to the liberty that he thought he had or should have when everybody else should have. It's about liberty. It's about making my ministry palatable to people and likable, because obviously I got something against me. And these are the people that's in the same lane as me, but they teaching contrary. They not accepting me, so I got to come out here and grab my own audience. And y'all got to like me.
Yeah, and that's what he doing is he giving what it sounds like in order to keep people around. He giving them like kind of a leeway where they can still kind of dip and dive here and there. That's what it sounds like, because he's telling them like, hey, you can do this and that, but just as long as you don't do this, as long as you don't know about how this now is, you straight. You know, so people like that. People don't want to hear it. Don't you go around these people that's doing this. If they barbecuing and you know what they barbecuing, don't even go over it. People don't want to hear that though. People don't want to hear don't go see your family on Thanksgiving. Nobody want to hear that, but it's true. I can't be around this because y'all working with somebody else right now. So it sounds like what he's saying is basically, it's fine, do this and that, be around them, you know, just don't take part in every single thing they're doing. But you still dipping and dabbing.
Man, what? Keep on dipping your foot in that water, someone gonna pull you in. See, the whole time, let's think about like who he dealing with. Cause at that point when he writing it letter, he ain't dealing with everybody, man. He dealing with European people who were used to calling that person Jupiter and that person Saturn.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Making shrines out of this and that.
Right.
And doing all kind of freaky stuff and having a liberty. You know what I'm saying? We got to understand the culture of Europe at this time.
Yeah. Also, if you notice, because I see people still do this today, they're strengthened by creating drama that people like. You know, like every time I get up there and teach, I'm always talking about somebody else's ministry.
Yeah.
And how, you know, people like that. Like, man, you know, we better than them because they draw people with that comparison type of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, and he constantly did it, man. Them, point his finger, them. Yeah.
This is exactly what's going on in that time. We said we're gonna put our minds there and not be reading this from a religious lens. Whole time. What that verse 7 say?
Who goeth that warfare anytime at his own choice.
You know what? Let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 3. chapter 3, 2 Corinthians 3, and now we're going to talk about him being accredited.
Yeah.
Yeah, from the top.
Yeah, got
Do we begin again to commend ourselves, or need we, as some other epistles of commendation to you, or letters of commendation from you?
Stop real quick. Y'all see that, right?
Yeah.
He said, do we begin again to commend ourselves, pat ourselves on the back, or need we, as some others, who we talking about, epistles or letters of commendation? You know what I'm saying? To you, or letters of commendation from you. Go ahead.
Ye are our epistles written in our hearts, known and read all of men. For so much as you have manifestly declared to be the epistle of Hamashiach, ministered by us, written not with ink, but with the root of the living Elohim, not in tables of stone, but in fleshly tables of the heart. And such trust have we through Hamashiach to Elohim God. Not that we are sufficient in ourselves to think anything as for ourselves, but our sufficiency is of Elohim.
And I agree with him to a degree, you know what I'm saying? And I understand why he feel like that. Bro feel like he been bullied righteous. You know what I'm saying? By the other folk. And he like, bro, well, I don't need y'all stamp and approve. I'm getting stamped and approved by the Most High. I feel him to a degree, but hey, we looking at reality right now. Verse 6.
Who also hath made us able ministers of the New Testament, not of the letter, but of the Ruach, for the letter killeth, but the Spirit giveth life.
That's the verse that most people go to, showing that, bro, I ain't gotta keep the law, bro. I just need to read the New Testament and just go like that. But see, what was the context of this chapter? Verse 1 tell you the context. What letter is he talking about? Letters of commendation. People had to get letters of commendation from the apostolic authority at that time to be preaching the gospel. You had to get stamped and approved by the original preachers of the gospel, the people who was with Yeshua. So if Paul didn't get stamped and approved by these people, he got to do his own thing and say that, speak his philosophy like, well, bro, I learned it straight from the Most High. Matter of fact, I met James' brother as a ghost. I ain't never met him, but I met him as a ghost, and he told me this. See what I'm saying? And then turn around and deified him. You know what I'm saying? Made him to be his own God. Feel me? The other day, me and Ira was on live, and some young man said, man, Jesus is my God. Jesus is my Lord. And me and Celeste like, dang. And Ira, we shake we like, whoa. I feel you, bro. All right. All right. You know what I'm saying? But I understand why he's saying that, because of when you look at people who never met the historical Yeshua, you ain't know he was a revolutionary. You know what I'm saying? You ain't know he was a real person. He wasn't just some demigod. That's Greco-Roman Hellenistic theory. He wasn't a demigod. It was a man like me and you. He a big brother. Revolutionary. The real Yeshua.
He just rose his vibration.
Rose his vibration, for sure. You know what I'm saying? He was the prophesied messianic figure, though, for sure. But the messianic figure, I think sometimes we take it too far in regards to deifying that person. Same way they would have did Nimrod. And now he became Baal after he died. So what I'm saying, they're going to do Michael Jackson the same way in a few years. He was the god of pop. They about did do that, for sure.
Yeah.
Just like they did Tupac like that too.
Yeah.
Soon he died. Like, I would imagine if Tupac was still living, he probably wouldn't have so much fame as he do now. But he an icon now, an idol, because he died, you know. For sure that. Whole time, where we at with?
But if the ministration of them written and engraved in stones was glorious, so that the children of Yasharel could not steadfastly behold the face of Shemaiah for the glory of his countenance, which glory was to be done away, how shall not the administration of the Spirit be rather glorious? For the administration of redemption be glory, much more does the administration of the righteousness exceed to glory. For even that which is made glorious had no glory in this respect, by reason of the glory that is of essence. For if that which is done away was glorious, much more than that which remaineth is glorious. Seeing then that we have such hope, we use great plainness of speech. And
So, no, you said they confused.
I said which was confusing.
I like the way how, Paul ended, and this is why people take what he meant by letters and apply it to the eternal 10, or, the 10 commandments or whatever, the law. Because he ended up changing the tone to fit that. But remember the context in the beginning, he was speaking of letters of commendation. Which whole time, we gonna expound on about these letters of commendation, because at one point he was like, he told the Corinthians, you know what, I'm glad y'all accepted my letters. You know what I'm saying? Even if y'all didn't hear any stamped and approved letters of me. Let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 10. Skip over a couple chapters. 2 Corinthians chapter 10. We're going to start that thing off at verse 18.
Okay. For not he that commendeth himself is approved, but whom Yahuwah commended.
Read that one more time, verse 8.
You said 8 or 18? I read 18.
Read verse 8.
Okay, I'm sorry. For though I should boast somewhat more of our authority, which Yahuwah had given us for edification, and not for your destruction, I should not be ashamed, that I may not seem as if I would terrify you by letters. For his letters, say they, are weighty and powerful, but his bodily presence is weak, and his speech is contemptible. There's such a one think that, such as we are in the word by letters when we are absent, such will we be also indeed when we are present.
So context by letters, right? This what all Paul writing basically is, epistles and letters. Go ahead.
For we dare not make ourselves of the number or compare ourselves with some that commend themselves, but the measuring themselves by themselves and comparing themselves among themselves are not wise.
When he slid kind of right, like, I ain't gonna lie, the boy so fly with his tongue, I ain't lying. That boy's fly. And see,
Well taught.
yeah, I reckon ain't nothing wrong with that, but see, we gotta understand where his anger and frustration coming from. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Because he wasn't accepted among the brethren.
Right. I feel him. I know why he feeling like that. But see, man, bro, you gotta check in when you gotta check in.
Yeah.
I ain't lying. You go to certain hoods, bro, you ain't checking in. You know what I'm saying? It hit different.
Hey, they gonna run down on you.
Yeah, bro, you getting robbed and all kind of stuff. But
so I like how when he say in 10, for his letters say they are weighty and powerful, but his bodily presence is weak and his speech contemptible. It's almost like they saying stuff you saying real nice, like real good, like this stuff go deep. But when you round, I don't feel like you match what you say.
oh man.
You know what I'm saying? And that can go two different ways, but I feel like that it's almost like you want to pity for him a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know, man.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said, like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? I can pity for him, like reading the history and looking at it with historical eyes. I know what cuz going through. But at the same time, like on the grand scheme, see, the Most High allowed for Paul's letters to be in with our Torah and Tanakh for a reason. It's the only way we were gonna have it to this day, man. Imagine if the Europeans didn't find a liking to Hebrew culture, and they would have really burnt everything up and got rid of stuff in 70 AD.
Yeah.
But because of Paul and Marcion
Right.
and Nicholas,
Right.
these early church fathers, it had already made its way into it. So at the end of the day, like, we got to big up Christianity in some form.
Right.
Because that truth when it came to us, and less by way of Christianity, and then you have Spaniards and British and Portuguese people coming to us with a Bible. They might not even know what this thing talking about. They just know they got it. You know what I'm saying? And this is what we standing on with Christianity. And we get our hands on it and be like, oh, see what I'm saying?
The keys start opening up different doors within you because it's resonated in you because it's for you.
It ain't never left us. Think about this. When we hopped off slave ship, we were naked. We ain't had no book. We ain't had no clothes.
Right.
No naked. All we had was songs and hymns.
Right.
And this tradition will pass down in songs.
Right.
Listen at these songs. Wade in the water. Swing low, sweet cherry. All of them Negro spirituals was them kumbaya. Them Negro spirituals was teaching us even in the field, like passing that tradition down. Like y'all know, like y'all was the ones that went over that river, went through that water. You know what I'm saying? Man, listen, you hear songs talking about Jordan River. So it was an oral passed down. So by the time we read it, they hit us like, hold on. Dang. You know what I'm saying? So the truth ain't new to the game. Like me and Josiah was talking the other day about, you know, especially in the 1800s when that young man in the late 1800s first instituted, you feel me, the first little Israelite movement, but it had already been before him then too.
Yeah.
Go on to slavevoyage.com and you can look at some certain slaves. They got Yah in their name, Yah in their name, Yah in their name. You know what I'm saying? That tradition will pass down. So it came to us. Now we got it. The dry bones finna raise up. We finna be able to break it down better to the nations, so they can join on to the covenant. Boy, it's smooth. That's why I ain't gonna hit too hard against Paul, because he in here for a reason. It had to happen. It had to be palatable to the Europeans.
Some kind of drama in order for the truth to really come out.
Or more so, even without the drama, like his whole ministry.
Right.
It's just like, bro, we like the way Paul talking about. And so now Europeans, they have access to the Torah, but by way of commentary from Paul. So boom, then Europeans gonna come to the realization it might be Paul, and they might drop Paul and go straight to the Torah, who he was commenting on or having commentary about.
And if it wasn't for Paul, the Europeans, like I said, they wouldn't have got it. And then when we were in the slavery,
We wouldn't have
it.
Look
So
at that.
we can say Paul was that bridge to us having the scriptures in our captivity.
It's a double fold though.
Yeah,
They gotta say he was a stumbling block too.
Yeah,
But
I agree, because like his teachers want, like you said, like they weren't as hardcore as Yahushua would speak. It wasn't as hard and straight to the point as that, so they could receive some of those things a little bit easier. You know, I believe so. That's definitely why they accepted his words a little bit more.
yeah.
He didn't require as much. I think it's a lot more. You want to go back and live ancient and back there in Moshe, you really gotta bring something to the table for it.
Yeah.
You couldn't be picking and choosing here today, going tomorrow. You really gotta every day be on this grind for it. And I think that's what some people don't want to hear. Like this, you can't just choose what you're gonna do here now. You gotta constantly every day be listening to what the Most High wants you to do. So I feel like when he write these things, he gives you constantly. He kind of give you options. You know, kind of give you a choice. You have a choice, but you really don't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's how they talk back then. It wasn't no choice back then. They didn't tell you, you can choose to keep Shabbat for forever, for a generation. They told you to do this thing, you know. But the way he teach, he kind of give you room to feel like I have a choice to get around this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then you get into the grace talk. But I ain't gonna lie, it's a beautiful thing when you step back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're like, dang, that's beautiful, cause like all this on like divine timing, bro. That's wild.
That would make that Acts 15 chapter that much more harder. Because when people ignore the fact when he says, well, in every city they have them which preach Shemaiah. In other words, you just coming into this thing and you ain't knowing everything, but you're going to have to continue studying Shemaiah to get the whole gist of what it is. You know, yeah, that's that much more crucial, but people don't even focus on that when they try to deal with the three things that we need to be doing.
Yeah, and so I mean that all that makes sense in regards to like if we would put ourselves then, he wasn't. How you know he wasn't talking to like Israelites who was like already used to the culture.
Right.
He had to speak to the Europeans because they never heard it before.
Right.
We ain't gonna just wake up and be like, oh man, we need to listen to Paul. You know what I'm saying? Or we need to read his letters because it wasn't written to us for one.
Right.
For two, we already had the Torah and the Tanakh.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
With the schools that come out of the Torah and Tanakh, the different schools or branches, for sure. But it is a very beautiful thing when you step back and look like, dang, bro, the Most High really set this thing up in some type way, even in the calamity of it, when you get into the details of it. Shoot, but we got there for a reason, huh?
Yeah.
And you know, as we talk about this, I always see scripture as both past and present. Because you look at this right now and think about people that really trying to live this thing in spirit and truth. And I ain't trying to say Paul ain't, you know what I'm saying? But just say some people, you know, have a certain appointment. You know, they're appointed to a certain extent. But then it's others that they in this truth, but they still want to please they boss. They still want to please the ones they answering to in this land. You know, I feel like James and them, they really was like, man, we gonna walk this walk. We ain't gonna care what come with it. And some, like I said, in my job, in this truth, they still choose to eat these guys and talk to these guys and degrade women and stuff just so they can still kind of be on their side. I feel like if you compare it to then and now, it's the same thing. It's not like same thing back then. A lot of us really trying to walk this thing anciently. And some people still, and I ain't going to come in a council, but some different council groups of people still choosing to do what they can to be at peace with this land.
Yeah.
You got like Maccabees, like they was talking about. When they started doing that about this destination, they got up out of there. They knew I couldn't be in this land because most of the time I'm not happy. You don't like this. You know what I'm saying? So we got to make a conscious choice to be humble. It's going to take that. Honestly, it's going to take that. You want to make it somewhere. You got to, it's a self-affliction. You got to choose to afflict yourself to get out of this stuff. It's not fun. It's not easy, but I ain't going to keep rambling, but I just definitely see a connection from then and then now. Because a lot of us go back and forth with them people right now, too. They telling them people because they have white skin, you got to kiss my feet. You know, and we don't agree with that. But they still teaching this, and other people that resemble us think that's okay. And
right, and you give a bad look.
Different groups still. You know, it's the same, and it's the same thing going on right now. It's interesting how this stuff is keep going on. It keep happening. You know, it's very interesting.
Man, no, that thing, it's about covenant for sure anyway. That's what they boil it down to. The Most High being it, man. Prestige being it, man. About contracts. It ain't really about so much bloodline that they point to. And coming out of Mizraim, you want one bloodline at all. For sure. Whole time. What we at in 2 Corinthians chapter 10. I'm gonna finish that on out real quick. Yeah, no, let's see. What was it, verse 9? I mean, verse 10. Yeah. Verse 11.
There's such as one thing this, that such we are in the words by letters when we are absent, such will be also indeed when we are present. For we dare not make ourselves of a number, or compare ourselves with some that commend themselves, but they measuring themselves by themselves, and comparing themselves among themselves are not wise. But we will not boast of things without our measure, but according to the measure of the rule which Elohim hath distributed to us, a measure to reach even unto you. For we stretch not ourselves beyond our measure, as though we reach not unto you. For we are come as far as to you also in preaching the gospel of Mashiach, not boasting of things without our measure, that is, of other men's labor, but having hope, when your faith is increased, that we shall be enlarged by you according to our rule abundantly, to preach the gospel in the regions beyond you, and not to boast in another man's line of things made ready to our hand. But he that glorieth, let him glory in Yahuwah, for not he that commendeth himself is approved, but whom Yahuwah commendeth.
Boom. So he's basically saying we're not commending ourselves by way of letters of recommendation or letters of being stamped and approved. But skip over, hit that one line in 2 Corinthians 11. We'll hit verse 13.
For such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into apostles of Mashiach.
So he's speaking about apostles who he calling false, and they transforming themselves and making them seem like they something, but they ain't. I have suspicion about who he may be talking about, but I can't confirm that right here. Yeah. We confirmed it in other verses. Whole time, let's go to Acts chapter 22. We finna start one line that thing, slowing the train down. go over to Acts chapter 22. We're going to hit that verse 25.
And as they bound him with thongs, Paul said unto the centurion that stood by, is it lawful for you to scourge a man that is a Roman, uncondemned?
So boom, we see the man Paul going through it. And at any time, whenever he going through it, he can pull a card saying, hey, unhand me, G, like, I'm a Roman.
Right.
You know, he pulled that citizenship whenever it was convenient for him, which was a lot different from the apostles. They couldn't do that. They was in the trenches. Like, they was in the hood. It's obvious. You know what I'm saying? Type situation. That whole time, the history of why this man got Roman citizenship is crazy. It is crazy. Y'all happen to know who Antipater is? Yeah.
That was one of the kings, right?
Yeah.
Herod Antipater.
Yep.
Right.
Herod daddy.
Right.
So what happened is Julius Caesar, a long time ago, Julius Caesar was in war. I forget who he was in war with.
Egyptians.
Yeah. Right. Mizraimite. And basically Antipater saved that man's life. Antipater is an Idumean. He's an Edomite. So Antipater saved that man's life. And ever since then, Julius Caesar said, hey, just because you did this, you and all your bloodline finna get Roman citizenship, y'all finna get privilege around here. So Herod...
And the throne of Yahudea.
Right, and that's what I'm finna say. This is why Herod had kingship in Judea.
Right.
He had kingship out here. And he was an Edomite. Get what? Whole time, at this time, all the priests in Israel who descend from Zadok, Aaron, the true priest, got kicked out and replaced by Idumeans because Idumeans started having power around them. And see, that's why I hate people thinking that Edomites and Europeans are the exact same thing.
Right.
Obviously, they not, because they was put in power by somebody else. That's the only reason they was out there, because of what happened with Antipater and Julius Caesar. Then I messed around and stumbled across a doggone chart, a timeline, a family tree. Antipater's children. And why I see in there Saulus be Antipater. Yeah. And if you don't know, Saulus is basically what Paul's name was, Saul. I see Saulus be Antipater as what he said in Romans 16, he a kinsman to Herod. So out of his own mouth, he mentioned that he was related to Herod. Then we see he got Roman citizenship, and we know Herod's whole lineage, by way of Antipater, got Roman citizenship. So I got reason to believe that Paul just might be Idumean by blood. And like I said, Idumeans at that time were posing to be Israelites. They took over the temple. A lot of the Pharisees at this time that was in the temples, Sadducees, were Idumean by blood, but Israel by conversion. And that's the history of that. Matter of fact, go to Romans 16 real quick.
It's just happening right now, too.
Huh?
It's happening right now, too.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
How about why you say that? Expound on that.
Because you got the Ashkenazis right now.
Oh, okay.
Right now, yeah.
Yeah, true that.
To be us,
True that.
these things.
Right.
A lot of people gonna pose to be that people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because historically speaking, it was during the Maccabees when they were converted.
Yeah.
Edom was converted in 125 BC.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense because the Romans had to get in. Although the Greco and the Romans, they similar to me, but the Romans had to get in power at that time. They weren't as strong as they needed to be, and they had Idumeans fighting with them to bring this power about. Romans 16:11, we can see what that boy said out his own mouth.
Romans 16:11.
Yeah.
Salute. Herodian. Okay. Salute Herodian, my kinsman. Greet them that be of the household of Narcissus.
Dang, Narcissus.
He tripping.
Okay, Narcissus. Okay. Which are in Yahoo.
Whole time. I don't know what kinsman mean to y'all, G.
Right. It means what it means. You said In Romans 9, he talk about my kinsmen according to the flesh.
Right.
He say who are Israelites.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see?
Hey, let me ask you real quick. Are you going to touch on Acts 21? Are you going to touch on
Yeah,
that?
I'm gonna hit that. Let's go to Acts 21.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And James was chastising that boy. We can do that. So Paul came to Jerusalem. And we're going to pick this up. Acts chapter 21, verse 14.
21 verse 14. And when he would not be persuaded, we see, saying, the will of Yahuwah be done. And after those days we took up of our carriages and went up to Jerusalem. There went with us also a certain of the disciples of Caesarea, and brought with them one Mason of Cyprus, an old disciple with whom we should lodge. And when we were coming to Jerusalem, the brothers received us gladly. And that day following, Paul went in with us unto James, and all the elders were present. And when he had saluted them, he declared particularly what things Elohim had wrought among the Gentiles by his ministry.
What that sound like?
Hey, this other side of the story he was telling.
Let's see this.
But every time he would approach any other Hebrews, he would always introduce himself by the stuff that he did.
Yeah.
With the Gentiles. Always.
Yeah.
Sound like he trying to one. He sound like he one up in them. Yo, look what I did.
Right.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yo, what y'all doing out here?
Right.
And he got to do that because who he checking in with?
The three pillars.
Yeah, and verse 18 say with James, they came into James, and all the elders were present. Feel me? I say James a part of the three pillars, and he the big dog. And go ahead with it.
And when they heard it, they glorified Yahuwah and said unto him, Thou seest, brother, how many thousands of Yahudim there are which believe, and they are all zealous of the law. And they are informed of thee that thou teachest all Yahudim which are among the Gentiles to forsake most Shemaiah, saying that they ought to not circumcise their children, neither to walk after the custom.
Read that one more time, cuz.
And they are all informed of thee that thou teachest all Yahudim which are among the Gentiles to forsake Shemaiah, saying that they ought not to circumcise their children, neither to walk after their customs.
So we all see what Paul been accused of?
Right.
He's saying, man, shoot, we heard through the grapevine that you ain't teaching what you supposed to be teaching. You teach it against Shemaiah in the Torah. Go ahead with it.
What is it therefore? The multitude must needs to come together, for they will hear that thou art come. Do therefore this, that we say to thee, we have 4 men which have a vow on them. Take, and purify themselves with them, and be at charge with them, that they may shave their heads, and all may know that those things where they were informed concerning them are nothing, but that thou thyself also walketh orderly and keepeth the law.
So he getting chastised right now by the elders along with James. He's saying, bro, you finna show these folks you out here doing what you supposed to do, and it's contrary to what you teaching. Go do the vow. When you done, cut your hair off. Boom. You good? You finna say something?
I like how it's almost like how when he go into these other churches and that he's like, I like this, I like this, I like that, but I have a problem with this. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, he didn't do that. That was James too, wasn't it? But that was John. Wasn't it?
Break down what you saying.
When because it sounds like basically they acknowledging the good stuff that he done did, but then they still say, but I heard this about you though.
Yeah,
so
you're right.
It sounds like in Revelation he going to these different churches and that's John's right.
John.
So it sounds like that's interesting how he basically get the same. He get the same chastisement. That's funny though.
Yeah, for sure. But Pete Gang, what we just read in Galatians 1, he always made it seem like these boys ain't meant nothing to me. Boy, you ain't telling these Europeans what you got going on at the crib? That you really in subjection like you said you wasn't, not for an hour in Galatians 1? So Galatians 1, like y'all can see, just keep this in your mind. This is Paul saying some thing from his perspective. But you can see contrary other places.
He answered to them boys.
He got it into the boy, right? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It go like that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Were you gonna touch on that Stephen thing though?
Stephan, the Acts chapter 7?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could. Finish that out. Where we at?
25. As touching the Gentiles which believe, we have written and concluded that they observe no such thing, save only they that keep themselves from the things offered to idols, and from blood, and from strangled, and from fornication.
Y'all see that again? We done read that about 3, 4, 11, 50, 11 times.
Yeah. All right.
And then Paul took the men, and the next day purifying himself with them, entered into the temple to signify the accomplishment of the days of purification, until that an offering should be offered for every one of them.
Boom.
He did not rebuttal.
He ain't
rebuttal. He wouldn't do what they said.
He can't, bro.
It's crazy.
Not in these boy presence. Know what I'm saying? Like I be wanting us to like historically put ourselves there. Like we think these boys just like some boys out there in the desert doing hippie stuff. No, man, these boys like the mob for real.
Like these boys say, be quiet. I'll be quiet.
I be talking to you, right? No cap. No cap. See, whole time. Let's hit the Acts chapter 7.
Hey, before you go there, read a couple of more verses.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay. Put down on he get hemmed up.
And when the 7 days were almost ended, the Yahudim which were of Asia, when they saw him in the temple, stirred up all the people and laid hands on him.
Oh man,
it didn't work. But go ahead.
Boy.
Crying out, men of Yasharel, help! This man that teaches all men everywhere against the people and the law in this place, and further brought Greeks into the temple, had polluted this holy place. For they had seen death before with him in the city of Trophimus and Ephesians, who they supposed that Paul had brought into the temple. And all the city was moved, and the people ran together, and they took Paul and drew him out of the temple. And forthwith the doors were shut. And as they went about to kill him, tidings came under the chief captain of the band that all Jerusalem was in an uproar, who immediately took the soldiers and centurions and ran down unto them. And when they saw the chief captain and the soldiers, they left beating of Paul. Then the chief captain came near and took him and commanded him to be bound with 2 chains, and demanded who he was and what he had done. And some cried one thing and some another among the multitude. And when he could not know the certainty for the tumult, he commanded him to be carried into the castle. And when he came upon the stairs, so it was that he was born of the soldiers for the violence of the people. For the multitude of the people followed after, crying, away with him. And as Paul was to be led into the castle, he said unto the chief captain, may I speak unto thee? Who said, can you speak Greek? He said, art thou not that Egyptian, which was before these days made in the uproar, and led us out of the wilderness 4,000 men that were murderers? But Paul said, I am a man which am Yahudim of Tarsus, a city in Sicily, citizen of no mean city. And I beseech thee, suffer me to speak unto the people. And when he had given him a license, Paul stood on the stairs and beckoned with the hand unto the people. And when there was made a great silence, he spake unto them with the Hebrew tongue, saying, men and brethren and fathers, hear my
just out. But anyway, well, it's just interesting that he was already accused of these, and they said they're believers. They wasn't lying people, they were believers. So if you're a believer, you ain't bearing false witness about, and it's important because you got some of us, and that used to be me. I think the whole term of apologetic comes from Paul's writings, because ain't no such thing as apologetics. You either doing it or you're not. But you being apologetic because you're trying to defend something that don't even need to be defended. You know what I'm saying? So these people, eyewitnesses, they knew what Paul was about. They knew what his teachings was. So like you say, you know, they greeted them all. You know, that's well and good. That's good that you know, converting the Gentiles. But talk to us about this thing that you teaching. You know, you lying, huh?
We keep hearing about those.
Right, right. But they speak from my witnesses. Then when because what he's doing here, he's being all things, all men. Somebody else suggested, and he didn't say, "Oh, that's a good idea. I think I'll do this." He went along with the program. Yeah, I'm gonna go with these men and do this, that. If this is what it takes for me to be accepted, I'm gonna do it. He didn't protest or nothing. He did it, and then at the end of 7 days, here comes some Hebrews from Asia. Oh no, y'all ain't got this cat up in here.
Right.
That's two witnesses, two whole separate witnesses. That's bearing witness of what this dude is teaching. And we go into, like, I always compare this to Stephen, who he was there killing him, Stephen. But it said that they were liars, lying on him, and they lied on him with the same thing that these men said that this is what Paul did. So they lie, and actually the lie is really the gospel of Christianity. He spoke against this place and changed the law of Shemaiah. That's what Christians believe. But these were liars who accused Stephen of these things. But these weren't liars. They were believers. They were righteous men that accused Paul of the exact same thing they falsely accused Stephen of. I just thought that was just, but like you say, you look at it from historical dynamic, you can't. And so, like I say, so me, for a long time, I was one of them Paul apologetics. You know, yeah, y'all don't really know Paul. Y'all don't know what Paul's trying to say. Paul is really trying to say this, and you got a lot of Hebrews that are like that to this day. Mm-hmm. Paul apologetics, man. Y'all kicking against Paul. Y'all don't really know.
It's too many accounts now.
It's too many accounts.
Yeah.
Too many accounts, and especially, I don't know if you're going to go into the thing with Abraham, because that's what he was teaching about Abraham, about it was by faith, not of works, and then James had to come around and say, look, thou vain man. Called him a vain man. Yeah. Faith without works. And then Abraham, he did these things by his works or whatever. I mean, he dealt directly with what Paul stated, word for word, directly. And he addressed them like, look, man, but it's
the only reason they didn't destroy him, though.
Huh?
It's because that's the only reason they didn't go and handle him. Because when they wanted to, he told them, he's not against us. He trying to do right. He ain't against us. If he ain't against us, he with us. So I see it as over these years they're trying to correct him. But they could have easily went and handled that man and ended all of that. But they're trying to correct this man, and I think show him love. In a sense. Yeah.
But the Roman citizenship had a lot to do with it, though.
Oh yeah, he had a lot.
See, Yahshua didn't have Roman citizenship. So when Pilate was put into the place of trying to judge him, Pilate like, look, this is y'all thing. I ain't got nothing to do with this. This is y'all. Y'all do according to what y'all law says, and I'm out of it. I wash my hands. But when it came down to Paul, this dude was a Roman citizen. So
I think his kinsmen did the same thing. Herod, historically speaking, Herod was catching buku bodies. And what you call it, the Sanhedrin,
right.
They lined them up. They were like, hey, bro, we're going to get you off of this throne that you got. And they brought it to the Romans. Somebody had came in and advocated for Herod and was like, his daddy is Antipater. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And they were like, I forget that then. And they threw it out because of his affiliation with that Roman citizenship.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. All right.
That's wild, though.
That's
deep.
Yeah.
You hear that accent.
Okay.
You hear that accent.
I wish Andrea was here. Said you got to read it from historical.
That was she don't live is.
Yeah, she more than likely on live. More than likely.
We can do that from the top. I love chapter 7.
Then said the high priest, are these things so? And he said, men, brethren, and fathers, hearken. The Elohim of glory appeared unto our father Abraham. And he was in Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia.
You know what Mesopotamia is? Mesopotamia, the same thing as the land of the Chaldeans, Babylon, Iraq, Baghdad, all that same thing.
Mesopotamia. Before he dwelt in the Sarah, and said unto him, get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and come into the land which I shall show thee.
Wait, historical context. Before Acts chapter 7, y'all understand they talking about Stephen, right? He was getting persecuted at the time, but he was named with 7 spirit-filled men in Acts chapter 6, because the apostle was like, hey man, we finna make some deacons out of y'all, boy. You know what I'm saying? And Stephen was one of them, but Stephen, bro, he was with that for real.
Well, that's the 6th chapter when they make the accusation.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's what I was just saying, like the
okay.
previous context of what we reading right now. And so, you know what I'm saying? He righteous. Yeah. Right. Seems like he real righteous. You know what I'm saying? That boy renegade, he a revolutionary.
Then came he out of the land of the Chaldeans, and dwelt in Charan, and from thence, when his father was dead, he removed him into this land, wherein ye now dwell. And he gave him none inheritance in it. No, not so much as to set his foot on.
I'm sorry, bro. I'm real sorry. I do want to just look at Acts chapter 16 before we. Do we got time to read Acts 16, Sam?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
This is the important part.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, let's do it. Acts chapter 6. I ain't gonna lie, because they hit different when you read that.
All right. And in those days, when the number of the disciples was multiplied, there arose a murmuring of the Grecians against the Hebrews, because their widows were neglected in the daily ministration. Then the 12 called the multitude of the disciples unto them, and said, it is not reason that we should leave the word of Elohim and serve tables. Wherefore, brethren, look ye out among you 7 men of honest report, full of the Ruach Kadesh and wisdom, whom we may appoint over this business. But we will give ourselves continually to prayer and to the ministry of the word. And the saying pleased the whole multitude, and they chose Stephen, a man full of faith and of the Ruach Kadesh, and Philip, and Prochorus, and Nicanor, and Timon, and Parmenas, and Nicholas of proselyte of Antioch.
Y'all remember what we were talking about earlier? Nicholas, proselyte of
Antioch.
Wow.
Remember, he was named with these 7 spirit-filled men. Like I say, it wasn't just the 12 out there walking in the desert. They had buku people around them, a whole community. You know what I'm saying? Scholars would call it the Essene community, the Ebionite community. You know what I'm saying? But this is the community that they had. And they like, the 12 apostles, like, bro, I ain't gonna lie, like, we got stuff to do here. We need to appoint somebody to send them out there. Right. They do that work.
Right.
And this is what these people live. But notice Nicholas, a proselyte of Antioch, was named with these men. But go ahead.
Whom they set before the apostles, and when they had prayed, they laid their hands on them. And as the word of Elohim increased, and the number of the disciples multiplied in Jerusalem greatly, and great company of the priests were obedient to the faith. And Stephen, full of faith and power, did great wonders and miracles upon the people. And there arose certain of the synagogue, which is called the synagogue of the Libertines, and Cyrenians, and Alexandrinians, and of the Cecilia and Asia, disputing with Stephen. And they were not able to resist the wisdom and the spirit by which he spake. And they suborned men which said, we have heard him speak blasphemous words against Shemaiah and against Elohim. And they stirred up the people and the elders and the scribes, and came upon him and caught him and brought him to the council, and set up false witnesses which said, this man ceases not to speak blasphemous words against this holy place and the law. For we have heard him say that this Joshua and Nazareth shall destroy this place and shall change the customs which Shemaiah delivered us.
That's the gospel, ain't it?
Right, exactly. But he getting falsely accused of this whole situation, right? They're crazy. I wonder when a Christian read this, like
exactly.
How they,
I wonder what the Christians think.
How do the Christian actually read that though? That's what I'm trying to see.
Right.
Because you can see that it say this man had false testimony against him, saying that he spoke against the law of Shemaiah. And this after Christ died.
Right.
Ain't that right?
Right.
Obviously, it still matters.
Right.
What that law was saying.
Right.
Verbal.
I think they will look at it as like he was preaching the gospel and they was against him when he was preaching the gospel in some sort of nature. But it still was, they were accusing him of preaching against the gospel. The false witnesses.
Yeah, but you can't get out of that false witnessing dynamic though.
Verse 14, do we read it?
Yeah. And all that sat in the council, looking steadfastly on him, saw his face as it had been the face of an angel.
I wonder what that's all about. Dang, this man getting falsely accused.
Right.
Let's see what happened. Chapter 7, verse 1.
Then said the high priest, are these things so? And he said, men, brethren, and fathers, hearken. The Elohim of glory appeared unto our father Abraham when he was in Mesopotamia, before he dwelt in Charan, and said unto him, get thee out of that country, and from that kindred, and come into the land which I shall show thee. Then came he out of the land of the Chaldeans, and dwelt in Charan. And from thence, when his father was dead, he removed him into his land, where ye now dwell.
I like how Stefan, that boy, he going through the whole history. Yeah, we get to see how the history played out on one drop. I ain't gonna lie. I don't know if y'all know in regards to when they say Haran, Genesis say Haran. He went to Haran.
Oh, yeah.
But do y'all happen to know that Haran was Abraham's brother?
Right.
I wonder why the land was named after his brother, what the relationship is.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay.
And he gave him none inheritance in it, no, not so much as to set his foot on. Yet he promised that he would give it to him for a possession, and to his seed after him, when it is yet he had no child. And Elohim spake on this wise, that his seed should sojourn in a strange land, and that they should bring them into bondage, and entreat them evil 400 years. And the nation to whom they shall be in bondage will I judge, said Elohim, and after that shall they come forth and serve me in this place.
And that 400 years definitely wasn't talking about no transatlantic slave trade.
Right.
I had to say that.
Right.
I don't know why people still saying that to this day. That 400 years was talking about a mystery.
Yep.
And he gave him the covenant of circumcision. And so Abraham begat Isaac and circumcised him on the 8th day. And Isaac begat Jacob, and Jacob begat the 12 patriarchs. And the patriarchs moved with envy, sold Joseph into Mizraim, but Elohim was with him, and delivered him out of all his afflictions, and gave him favor and wisdom in the sight of Pharaoh, king of Mizraim. And he made him governor over Mizraim and all his house. Now then came a dearth over all the land of Mizraim and Canaan, and a great affliction, and our father found no sustenance. A famine, okay. But when Jacob heard that there was corn in Mizraim, he sent out our fathers first. And at the second time, Joseph was made known to his brethren, and Joseph's kindred was made known unto Pharaoh. Then sent Joseph and called his father Jacob to him, and all his kindred, threescore and 15 souls.
How many is that?
75.
Yeah,
75.
75. Okay. So how deep we came into Mizraim? 75 strong. How we left that thing?
600,000.
600,000. Wow.
Right. Multiplied.
One playing, boy. One playing. All right.
So Jacob went down into Mizraim and died, he and our father, and were carried over in Shechem and laid in the sepulchres that of Abraham had brought for some money of the sons of Emor, the father of Shechem.
Amor.
Amor.
Yeah,
Okay.
I like how it be spelling things different in the New Testament.
Okay. Yeah. The father of Shechem.
Yeah, the Greek.
Oh, the Greek translation, yeah.
Okay. But when the time of the promise drew nigh, which Elohim had sworn to Abraham, the people grew and multiplied in Israel. Till another king arose, which knew not Joseph. The same dwelt subtilly with our kindred, and evil entreated our fathers, so that they cast out their young children to the end that they might not live. In which time Shemaiah was born, and was exceedingly fair, and nourished up in his father's house 3 months. And when he was cast out, Pharaoh's daughter took him up and nourished him for her own son. And Shemaiah was learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians, and was mighty in the words and in deeds.
Boy, them chematology love that verse right there.
And when he was a full 40 years old, it came into his heart to visit the brethren of the children of Yasharel. And seeing one of them suffer wrong, he defended him, and avenged him that was oppressed, and smote the Egyptians. For he supposed his brother would have understood how that Elohim by his hand would deliver them. But they understood not.
Same way they did Yahshua. Crazy, ain't it? Then get what? Shemaiah went away for 40 years and came back. How old he was when he came back? 80. Boom. Same thing Yahshua, prophetically, the messianic figure supposed to do. Be here and come back with a different, go ahead.
He went in the desert for 40 days.
For so that
Came up.
But when the messianic figure come back, it's gonna be for redemption. Same way Shemaiah did.
Right.
And I had to say that because a lot of OT only people, non-messianic people, I don't reckon they make that relation to Shemaiah, saying they be like, well, Yahshua wasn't a Messiah because he was supposed to bring us the kingdom. Right. But they not knowing how messianic prophecy is talking about two different messianic figures. Right. Two different events. Whole time. Had to come in on the donkey first. Right. Be humble and lowly. Same thing we in this position. We being humble and lowly. You got to kneel down to receive a crown. Then the crown comes. Go ahead with
it. And the next day he showed himself unto them as they strove, and would have set them at one again, saying, Sirs, ye are brothers. Why do you wrong one to another? But he that did his neighbor wrong thrust him away, saying, Who made thee a ruler and a judge over us?
What verse you in?
28.
28. Yeah. Wilt thou kill me as thou didst the Egyptian yesterday?
Ain't that like black folk?
Yep, exactly.
Bro, I just saw you caught that body. You trying to do me the same way now? All right.
Why you in the middle of grown man business?
Man, what? Dang.
Then fled Shemaiah at the same, and was a stranger in the land of Midian, where he begat 2 sons. And when 40 years were expired, there appeared unto him in the wilderness of Mount Sinai an angel of Yahuwah in a flame in a fiery bush. When Shemaiah saw it, he wondered at the sight. And as he drew near to behold it, the voice of Yahuwah came unto him, saying, I am Elohim of thy fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Isaac, and the Elohim of Jacob. Then Shemaiah trembled and durst not behold. Then said Yahuwah unto him, Put off thy shoes from thy feet, for the place where thou standest is holy ground.
Same reason why Muhammad stole that idea when he was before he started Islam. That boy was a camel driver. He came across Jews who practiced this already, going into the synagogue, taking your shoes off. So boom, that just to say that, you know what I'm saying? That was Islam get that from, taking their shoes off. Yeah, even with the voodoo too. You know what I'm saying? In our culture, we call it Netilat Yadayim. And Hebrew, where the priests wash their hands before they pray and all that. Muslims do the voodoo. They get the Quran ain't nothing but an offspring of the Torah.
That's why you told me that.
Huh?
That's why you told me that.
Yeah, for sure. But no, I was just referring to how And multiple times, this same angel that appeared to Shemaiah appeared to Joshua. I'm like, hey, take off your shoes. This is holy ground. You know what I'm saying? So that you don't want to bring low vibrations into the temple. You might have been stepped on a bug or something.
And then I would say that's why the Asians they take their shoes off before they go in the house.
Yeah, that sounds about right for sure.
Yep.
Now, but I just had to mention that where that custom in Islam come from our people.
34. I have seen the affliction of my people which is in Mizraim, and I've heard their groaning, and I'm come down to deliver them, and now come. I will send thee into Mizraim. This Shemaiah whom they refused, saying, who made thee a ruler and a judge, the same did Elohim send to be a ruler and a deliverer by the hand of the angel which appeared unto him in the bush. He brought them out. After that, he had showed wonders and signs in the land of Mizraim and in the Red Sea and in the wilderness 40 years. This is that Shemaiah which said unto the children of Yasharel, a prophet shall Yahuwah Yah Elohim raise up unto you of your brethren, like unto me, him shall ye hear. This is he that was in the church in the wilderness with the angels which spake to him in the Mount Sinai, and with our fathers who received the lively oracles to give unto us, to whom our fathers would not obey, but trust him for them in their hearts turned back again into Mizraim. Saying unto Aharon, make us Elohim to go before us, for as this Shemaiah which brought us out of the land of Mizraim, we wot not what was become of him.
See, that thing about it, see, whole time with the culture that the Most High trying to show us, sometimes we, like I said earlier, we bring our past ideology or religions into this culture with us, when really the Most High like, man, chill out. Like, right, just chill, because see, whole time, this what we were doing in the wilderness. All we knew was how the Mizraimites showed us how to worship some deity. And we tried to do the same thing. That's why Ezekiel 20, when the elder was sitting at their kneecaps to Ezekiel, inquiring of the Most High, he said, cause them to know the abomination of their fathers. You know what I'm saying? Because our fathers were doing all kind of stuff, but I assume that our fathers didn't know to the degree how bad of what they were doing. For example, when Shemaiah was up there in that mountain, and they told Aharon to make the doggone golden calves. The verses up under, they said they was out there having a feast unto Yahuwah. Meaning they really thought that golden calf was
Aharon said.
That's what Aharon said.
Right.
They thought that golden calf was a representation of Yahweh.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We be trying to apply other cultural principles to this. We need to get naked, bro. For real. But I think that can come with evaluation, and like, I think that's a long little walk stride, because I'm still evaluating myself. Like, I don't know what else I may be doing that I'm applying my old ways to this culture when it's not that. Like, for example, sometimes even when I hear people speak Hebrew, we know "in" on the any Hebrew word make it plural, but we still add an S to it.
Right.
Like I say morays instead of saying moreen. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We can't apply this rule to this culture. You know what I'm saying?
Well, English is Hebrew backwards, basically.
Yo, people say, but see, all languages come out of the Phoenicians, phonics. You know what I'm saying? Phonics, Phoenicians. But see, just like that's I'll say the Hebrew language like that too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, for sure. And when I say Phoenicia, I'm talking about the land of Canaan, Canaanite, land of palm tree. But I can't still vouch for English like that now.
Right, because it's a mixed up language.
A lot of spells and stuff like that.
Right.
I can't even say for Hebrew as well, because I don't know what Eliezer ben Yahuda had got going on when he tried to revive the Hebrew language to be an oral spoken language. In comparison to when it was just a religious writing. But people speaking Aramaic in the time of Yeshua, ain't that right?
Right, Aramaic, yeah.
And Hebrew was only used for like liturgical worship.
Kind of like the way the Catholics do with Latin.
Yeah, same way Catholics do with Latin.
Right.
But then you got this Russian boy in the late 1800s, Eliezer ben Yahuda, said, I'm finna revive Hebrew language. But I don't know.
Russian dude. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I heard somebody. I believe that was you earlier telling Joe about some Russian Oscar.
Oh yeah, at my job, this new lady, I don't know how we got started, but she was just telling me that her grandmother lived to 104 years old. I think we was talking about journalism, and she was telling me that her grandmother lived to 104 and how she died in a home or whatever, and how she had this thick Russian accent. And then maybe a couple of days later, she looked at my schedule and noticed that I never work Friday and Saturday. And I was telling her, oh yeah, I keep the Shabbat. And she was like, oh, that'll work perfect for me. She was like basically saying her dad is Jewish and how he's like in his 90s. And in my brain, I'm like, didn't this woman just tell me her grandmother was Russian? Now her dad, which is her dad's mother, is Jewish, and how growing up they had two of everything and all this other stuff. So they know. But it's kind of us that we don't know the lineage, Russians and.
That's what lets you know that we're really accurate, because them knowing where they came from, they can always pinpoint where they came from.
Yeah.
And we not supposed to know.
Yeah.
You know what I
It's
mean?
like they're just dropping truths here and there, and they're
Right,
smart enough you can put it
Or
together.
when we hear Jewish, we think it's ethnicity, but she was saying what she meant. He was.
According to converted.
Yeah.
Somebody tried to tell me how you don't know you. I don't know if I'm a priest. I don't know if I'm a son of Aaron. I can't say that.
Yeah, it's about covenant for sure. But see, the whole time I'm gonna say this, and I find it so interesting that a lot of Ashkenazi Jewish people, they lineage do go back to Russia and Ukraine. You see what's going on right now in Israel.
Go ahead. Talk to
See, a lot of people don't know
me.
the Palestinians were getting kicked out of their houses, so that the Israelis would bring the Ukrainians down. When the Ukraine and Russia were going on, man, what? And this was part of the problem why the Palestinians got mad at Israel, outside of what been going on before then.
Right.
Whole time, but you see that connection. Same thing when they try to deport those 70 people from Dimona.
Yeah.
Because they were trying to bring Ukrainians in, you know what I'm saying, during that time. So, boom, you see the connection between the Israelis, Ukrainians, and Russians.
And just like when that war's going on, Russian, all of them coming here. The Ukrainians are here.
Yeah, it's
like,
Bukavan, yeah, for sure.
What? Okay.
Yeah. It is what it is. I mean, I think, boy, it's very important to understand anthropology, bro, and genealogy. Let's start looking at our bloodlines and track record. I ain't lying, but at the end of the day, no matter what it is, bro, we about on this covenant for real. At the end of the day. And so even if people like Eliezer ben Yehuda with Russian background wanted to adopt the Hebrew culture, I hope they did it in a sincere manner, opposed to what we do know a lot of Jewish people get into devilish mysticism. You know what I'm saying? For sure. It hit different, bro. Yeah. What we at in Acts chapter 7?
Verse 41. And they made a calf in those days and offered sacrifice unto the idol and rejoiced in the works of their own hands. Then Elohim turned and gave them up to worship the host of the heavens, and it is written in the book of the prophets, O ye house of Yasharel, have ye offered to me slain beasts and sacrifices by the space of 40 years in the wilderness?
I think that's in Psalms 95 all the time when he said that, have you did this for 40 years, all these sacrifices y'all doing? But notice how he said he gave them up to worship the host of heaven. Most I give you overseer, look, that's what you want to do? All right. Let's see what happens as you do this. What? All right.
Yeah, ye took up the tabernacle of Molech and the star of your god Rephaim, figures which ye made to worship him. And I will carry you away beyond Babylon. Our fathers had the tabernacle of witnesses in the wilderness, as he had appointed, speaking unto Shemaiah, that he should make it according to the fashions that he had seen. Which also our father that came after brought with Yahshua, which also our father that came brought in with Joshua.
Right. Still Yahshua.
Yeah.
Okay. Joshua, okay. Into the possession of the Gentiles, whom Elohim drave out before the face of our fathers to the days of their week.
Oh no, that's beautiful right there, because then we can get to see like what Yahshua name really was. How
Right.
did, in translation, they
Right.
missed this and put
Right.
Jesus instead of Joshua?
Right.
Letting you know that Yo Hey Wah Hey or Yo Hey, how would you spell Yahshua? Anyway,
Yo Hey Sheen
Sheen
Wah Ayin.
Ayin at the end, right? So when they see that, or however it was written in Greek, you know what I'm saying, they end up putting Jesus instead of Joshua. Really, Joshua and Yahshua is the same word.
Yep.
So if we were to translate, if you could possibly translate the name, which is crazy to me,
Right.
it would be Joshua, right?
Yeah.
Not Jesus. So who is Jesus?
Yeah. I got it on video, man, where I had these evangelists from Israel of God ran up on us, and then they wanted to deal with this. I gave them this verse, man. I said, I bet you can't. None of y'all translate what this verse is saying. And they quickly turned their Bible like, this dude telling us we can't translate the verse. And they all started reading it. They didn't know what to do with it. I got that on video.
Dang.
Yep.
I don't know. You know, people had their argument about names on matter.
Right.
I don't know if I was walking in the crowd and my brother was trying to call me and he said Micah, I ain't gonna turn around because I ain't know who you talking about Micah. Or if anybody's trying to call my name, but it's not my name. So
I think names matter when it comes to money. Because I was telling, because I'm from Israel Church of Jesus here in Jacksonville. That's where I came from. And I was telling one brother, if I misspell your name on a check, if I write you a $50,000 check, you take it to the bank, they're not going to cash it because it has to be accurate. So names do matter.
Right.
It's just we pick and choose when it matters. Because no Christian, no Hebrew Israelite will argue you down and be like, you got to write my name right on this check now because I'm trying to cash it. Then it's going to matter. But we pick and choose selective. Righteousness.
Yeah, they say all of them say, oh, his name don't matter.
speak, boy.
I agree because, like, I always use this example, and people hate when I do this, but I always be like, because they be like, well, you know, it's a translation. It's a different, different region, different land. And I'm like, well, if I go to China, my name's still my name. Trump name in China, Kim Jong-un name here is still Kim Jong-un.
Boy, you better speak, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
Talk that talk.
It's crazy how they make an excuse.
Right.
Well, like I said, they want to find an answer to everything. So just so you become, just okay. All right, I got you. All right. Crazy, bro.
I guess if it don't matter, it don't matter to them.
Right.
You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
At the end of the day.
I reckon if that's what you like to do, that's your type party, stand on that. Every tub got to sit on their own bottom. You know Alright, you know what I'm saying?
Your own salvation.
Where we at with it?
And obtain your own salvation.
There's just so many scriptures about the name. The name, that bless the name.
Right.
All of them.
Proclaim the name.
Salvation in one
I started writing it down one time. I'm like, it just never ends about the name. But I also think it's about the character of the name. And when you say Jesus and you do that, you have the wrong one anyway. Because the way your actions are and the way you believe in what I found, the ones that really want to keep that name, they're still not doing it. They don't care about the law.
Yeah, so that is Jesus they did on it.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying.
Right. Absolutely.
That's the whole other thing.
That's the God of
It's
wood
the
and
one
stone.
that
That's good.
they created. Really.
And Deuteronomy
It's just
28 chapter.
than the one that when you learn the name and you really feel convicted in your heart that this is, why would I not want to do this, say the right name? That's how I felt. It meant a lot that he showed me his name.
Yeah.
You know? And then I learned about his character. I'm like, okay, well, if I use this name, I need to also have that character. That I'm struggling with that, but I'm wanting to learn that, and I want to do that.
Because you won't violate the
That's
third
foundation.
And I
That's
realized how-
foundation right there.
Yeah, and I learned how different. I couldn't believe it when I read that it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same. I mean, I was like, what you learn in church is just not the same. I couldn't believe how different. And that's why I think the name, when you really want to use it, is because he's placed it on your heart and you really have a desire to please him and obey him.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get something else too with that. The name means something.
Yes.
If literally you break it down in our language, it means something. My name in English don't mean nothing but my name. It's literally just that.
When you see the names mean things like Obadiah, they all have meaning to them.
Exactly.
Every single one. And in our generation, we don't have any meanings to our names. It seems like. That's a cute name. That's what I wanted to name my kids. I like that.
Right.
It just doesn't mean anything. And I saw how it means to him. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, well, I would have given my kids different names. Mm-hmm. I would have thought this through.
Yeah, exactly. Name, especially like looking at the Hebrew word for name, Shem or Shemka, Sem, like meaning reputation. I look at certain Hebraic scholars during the 10th century when a lot of the Jews were in the land of Morocco as Moors, and it was a mix between Islam and Israel at that time. One scholar or philosopher named was Sa'adir al-Fayumi, being yourself. Just looking at that word, but if y'all know what Fayumi is, or Fayum is in Misri, Mississippi, in Egypt. But whole time we can see how names it reflect your reputation, where you from, and where you from, like what city you from and who you descend from. It say being yourself, his dad is yourself, and Al from Fayumi, from Fayum. Whole time, that's why I think like the name, it do hit heavy, and it go back to the Hebraic word Shemka, which means reputation. This is your reputation. So like you said earlier, I started thinking about the third law in the eternal 10, to not take his name in vain, not take his Shemka in vain, his reputation in vain, represent him better, the character of, like you said.
Yeah, I think that commandment goes very deep when you really start to study that one out. About the character. That's when I kind of started learning about that. I was like, this isn't just about, it's your character too, and his character, and how you don't want to represent that incorrectly. And that's exactly why, because look what's happened. He is totally represented wrong. That's the first thing I realized when I started reading scripture, was he is totally represented incorrectly, and people run with it and they don't want to let go of it. They like that.
See, I would say this, and y'all might not agree with this, but I think it hit heavier with Yahshua, because he an actual man. When it comes to the Creator, sometimes I use generic titles like Creator, Mosai, Ancient of Days, and refrain from using Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh, because I know Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh more than a name, it's an action. You are who you are. I am that I am. Ahai, Ahashar, Ahai, or self-existent one. It's more of an action. So when I'm speaking to people, I always say Yahuwah or Yahuwah or Yahweh, whatever somebody want to say, because, like I said, it hit different with Yahshua, because he's an actual human. I don't want to disrespect her. You see what I'm saying? But the only reason I go for, because you got doctrines out here saying that Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh it got an evil connotation to it.
I've seen it.
You seen that before?
Yeah,
right.
I've seen it say that that's Satan's name, and this and that.
People say that all the time. But see, I'm going to say it like that. You can't argue with science, or you can't argue with numbers.
Yeah, it's in our DNA.
Exactly. With what the boy named Francis, Dr. Francis, the geneticist, when they found that adenine, cytosine, thymine, guanine inside of our DNA, it saw the sulfuric bonds every 10, every 6, every 5, every 6. Yeah. That's the same tetragrammaton when you understand Hebrew gematria. Right. See what I'm saying? Right. So that's in us. Man, you can't get out of your
That's why they're trying to change our DNA. That's why they're trying to get rid of that. They're trying to get rid of us.
Trying to change the image, because on the slick, like, this why the Most High told us to not make images. Because slick, we the image. You know what I'm saying? He said we were made in his image. Not saying that we should be worshipped, but like whole time, like, do you know who you is according to DNA? Alright, boom. It makes sense why we got so much biochemical warfare waged against us, bro. They can drop a doggone what they used to call back then a gay bomb. Drop through smells, pheromones that'll change your sexuality. Change you on a molecular, intracellular level.
Even in the waters, they can change your
It's changing the frogs from men.
Right.
To girls.
Oh yeah. Oh.
There's so much coming after.
Yeah.
No cap. And it always had been, but I think it been a ramp up. Like when we studied, like, man, the chronology of how even the United States came to be, especially, I'm gonna say this sounds wild, but in the year 2000, y'all know back in the 90s, people were yelling, Y2K, the world's gonna end in 2000. I think it did end, according to people understanding in the 90s. It did change to something different because you started seeing the influence of AI, and which is alien technology. Following watching technology, read the book of Enoch. Who was teaching mankind all this technology? Following watching. And so it was us eating off the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And we perverted ourselves. That's why I say we got to go back to the Bereshit way, back to Genesis, right to the garden naked, because so far what we've been eating off the wrong tree and ingesting too much knowledge of what we think is knowledge, but it's working against the Adamic civilization intent. So what I'm saying? Now, because Elon Musk will swear up and down a Neuralink chip with advanced human society.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? But in the long run, it's detrimental. You know what I'm saying? They thought a vaccine would be good for the now, but what it got long-term effects of. And that's what I think they ain't factoring in. And now we.
No, they know.
Yeah, they know. They know for sure. They know a lot of things. But the thing about it, the people that running them don't know. So I'm saying it's a small percent that do know. But I'm gonna say this, bro. We so drugged up, man, by way of how we got dehumanized by blue lights. We got fallen watchers in this room right now looking at us. I ain't lying. But it is what it is. We got to deal with it. Them screens.
This is
Lucifer. Black Mirror. We looking at Lucifer. But I'm saying, like, that's why I be praying so much that the Most High show us grace while we get this thing right. Because it gonna come a time we're going to have to excuse ourselves from all of this advanced technology, alien technology, which is rewriting our genes, our DNA. Same reason why the earth got flooded the first time, because it was genetically spicing things. You know what I'm saying? We back in that situation whole time. It getting worse.
I love how you gonna make me go crazy, man. You spoke on how the world already like the world current state, it already ended. That old civilization that's done, like this is a whole new society. People don't even think the same as they did, years ago. It's a completely different land, like completely. And it's up to us to bring in a new society, like he was saying earlier. The Adamic society. We got to go back to living like we did in Eden. It's the only way that you can combat this world. You can't fight this world with this world. Just like my job, they harass me. I can't go to my lieutenant about my chief doing it. They all on the same team. So the only way I can do this is by going to the outside source, going back to what I know. So for us, that's the only way we can live is to go back to the beginning.
Yep. So he can bring that breath of life back into it, man. I ain't gonna lie, bro. We sit here and think about it too much. Some of y'all might get emotional if you think too hard, cause I can't lie. We capitulated, bro. Very bad. We in bondage right now. Unless we skew ourselves a little bit more than what we doing.
Right.
For sure. Man. Say sovereignty? Yeah, even on that level, for all that.
Well, we're so dependent too. Like I was thinking, if we can't make like the food industry being so disgusting as it is now, and when you wake up to this, it's like unless if you have like a whole bunch of money, go get your own, start doing a whole gardens and all these other things, and we really are so dependent on every part of what's going on. And how do you really fully get out of it? Even if you do get your own land, you have the government is infiltrating into there, and they're like even going after, even like the Amish, they're going after them now. I mean, they're just going after anybody and put, like, you can't sell your own milk or any, without it being pasteurized and all that. They're gonna somehow get you to, like, it feels like sometimes you're just so dependent. Like, I don't want to be that. How do you fully? I don't think you can.
It's almost like you have to have your own country. It's almost like you have to be independent of this,
completely shut off from the outside.
Yeah, shut off.
Completely self-sustaining.
Because, like you said, like when it even comes to food and stuff like stores, they don't even want you to plant, fruit trees, in public places, so it's just crazy.
Some places
because they're trying to control that.
Yeah. Right. That's retarded. That's crazy. Right. Right.
But see, get what? It's so crazy. It was a show you were watching. Brand was watching it too when we stayed in Florida, where the people had them purple robes on. They're like a cult. What's the name of that show? Ruthless.
Oh, that Ruthless.
Yeah.
Oh,
but notice how them people was waking up out of that when they stopped eating the food there.
Yeah.
What we doing in the United States? We eating their food. So we in a bigger cult right now. called the United States Corporation. We eating their food, and they got us docile and not paying attention. But certain people starting to, you feel me, change they diet and change their lifestyle, and now it's people like, man, hold on, bro, what we got ourselves into? We got to figure out how we get out of it. Now we getting frantic, bro.
My brain has been clearing out since I've been eating different.
Yeah.
You just, in general, just reading scripture changes your brain too.
Yeah.
But like eating differently, all those things changes. I just feel like my head is just clearing, and more and more. But then you start realizing
It's a lot to be
that you
done.
really are. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, where you're dependent, like on this system. And how do you get out of it? I know some people, you're talking about like social security numbers and stuff. I saw some people that were actually having babies at home and not getting social security numbers for them.
Put it in that Bible.
No, and not when they get married, they don't get married through the government. They're really starting to push away from
You
all of
have
that.
to now.
We need our own ketubas and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You become a target at that point. That's why I say, like, slick, like, speaking of zeal, like, that's what we need. In Hebrew, kanai, we need that zeal. Like, you ready to die by that, ain't lying.
Exactly.
But that sounds crazy, too, because we ain't never been put in that position.
But it gotta come to that. Like I always say, I'd rather leave this earth knowing I did as much as I could to be out of this. Then know I could have did more, but still for comfort's sake, I decided to stay. Man, I feel I can't go out like that.
No.
So I'm doing everything I can right now to do what I do to get out of this predicament that I'm in. And I feel like we gotta come together to some kind of way to support each other. Like I was telling you earlier, like somebody need to know how to farm, somebody need to know how to make soaps and lotions, somebody need to know how to garden, take care of animals, all that. And we all benefit off each other because everybody can't do. You can do one person can do everything. You know what I'm saying? So it's
that community, man, for sure. And see,
way, bro.
That's why Torah is so important. Like, I ain't lying. Like, whole time, man, we been had all the answers now. When they tried to protest for George Floyd back in 2020, and folks were like, man, we can boycott. You know what I'm saying? We had a natural boycott if we kept Shabbat. If everybody kept Shabbat. You know what I'm saying? Like, Torah already been showed us. The Tanakh, Jeremiah chapter 29 said, he was speaking to the one that was captive in Babylon. He said, bro, y'all go build houses, plant gardens, eat the food of it, beget children from your wives. Like, he gave the whole blueprint while they was in captivity, showing us that shit was impossible, slick. Because I ain't gonna lie, I had a debate with somebody from IUIC, and Deuteronomy 28, before they came over, it said we're gonna be serving them in, like, what they say, based on clothing, food, hunger, thirst,
right?
Hunger, thirst, and nakedness. And he said, bro, we gonna better get out of these curses, bro. We gonna always be hunger, thirst, and nakedness to them. I said, well, kind of, I think I heard you say that, and I said, curse also said we're gonna be serving wood and stone. Are we serving that, or are you serving that? You got a choice. At the end of the day, slick, like whether you perish for it or not, or persecuted or whatever.
That's the thing about changing everything. About being set apart is changing the way that you do things.
Yeah.
Changing the way everybody else is doing. You change your diet. You want a plant-based diet. You ain't eating all this mess that they got, Burger King, all this stuff that they put before us, and you know what I'm saying. You living, you keeping the Shabbat. You're not going out shopping like everybody else doing on Saturdays.
Not go garage selling.
Exactly.
I keep seeing garage sales everywhere.
Or you grow your own food. It's like you set apart is and then by you doing that, it's like you keeping these commandments, you keeping this stuff. That's when the blessings come in at.
You get peace. That's why I love the Hebrew language. I ain't gonna lie. The word shalom.
Shalom.
You break that word down, you got a shin, a lamed, wav, and a mem. Shin means to separate. It's like teeth, you separate. Then you separate yourself, and then you go to lamed, which is a shepherd's staff. You submitting yourself to the shepherd, the Most High.
Yes, sir.
Wav is security, it's a nail, boom. And mem is water. You can say that piece right there. But in order for you to get that piece, you had to separate yourself to the shepherd, right? You know what I'm saying? So boom. All of that is required. If we're going to get reading type benefit for peace and all that, I think, boy, that separation, you got to go that deep.
It's inside. You got to cleanse yourself from the inside out.
For sure that. What we were, man. We finna get ready, I guess, slow that thing down, because I don't know what time it is. 4:31. What time will y'all be slowing it down?
Yesterday.
Stay so good, man. I don't even know if you want to stop eating.
Yeah, for sure that. Now we're gonna slow it down for sure. We're just gonna finish Acts 7 out. We want to see Stephan die real quick.
Oh, okay.
Sound crazy.
Verse 46. Who found favor before Elohim and desired to find a tabernacle for Elohim and Jacob. But Solomon built him a house. How about the Most High dwelleth not in temples made with hands, as saith the prophet? Heaven is my throne, and earth is my footstool. What house will you build me, says Yahuwah? Or what is this place of my rest? Have not my hand made all these things? Ye stiff-necked and uncircumcised in heart and ears, ye do always resist the Ruach Kadesh, as your fathers did, so do you. Which of the prophets have not your fathers persecuted? And they have slain them which showed before of the coming of the just one, of whom ye have now the betrayers and murderers, who have received the law by disposition of angels and have not kept it. When they heard these things, they were cut to the heart, and they gnashed on him with their teeth.
Dang, he brought the truth on him.
But he, being full of the Ruach Kadesh, looked up steadfastly into heaven and saw the glory of Elohim, and Yahshua standing on the right hand of Elohim, and said, Behold, I see the heavens open, and the Son of Man standing on the right hand of Elohim. Then they cried out with a loud voice, and stopped their ears, and ran upon him with one accord, and cast him out of the city, and stoned him. And the witnesses laid down their clothes at the young man's feet, whose name was Saul.
What?
And they stoned Stephen, calling upon Elohim and saying, Master, Yahshua, receive my spirit. And he kneeled down and cried with a loud voice, Yahuwah, lay not this sin to their charge. And when he had said this, he fell asleep.
Dang, who feet they laid at, man?
Boy.
You read the eighth chapter first verse.
You want to read the 8th chapter?
But just the first verse.
We
or
can get into
whatever.
that, do that.
And Saul, and Saul was consenting unto his death.
What?
And at that time, there was a great persecution against the church, which was at Jerusalem. And they were all scattered abroad throughout the regions of Judea and of Samaria, except the apostles. Keep going.
Wait, hold on. Go on now.
Okay. And devout men carried Stephen to his burial, and made great lamentation over him. As for Saul, he made havoc of the church, entering into every house, and hailing men and women, committed them to prison. Therefore, that they were scattered abroad, went everywhere preaching the word. Then Philip.
Now we good. Now J had to see what that boy Saul had got going on. That boy was on the scene.
That's funny that he changed his name, right?
I heard he stole that name from somebody.
Did he really?
Somebody named Paul. I ain't even gonna say that unless I can show you, but I'm gonna have to
But
go
in
get
that
it.
same time that King Saul changed his name.
Well, a lot of people got their name changed, ain't
Did he change it? Oh, no.
No, I don't know about King Saul. But I do know the whole time, the boy Stephan, I love the story because that man real gangster. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Shoot, why we always talking about these scenes, man, but y'all know, well, a lot of them scenes was just like that, according to Josephus, when he started telling about them, bro, you capture them and kill them, because that's the only way they dying, because apparently they lived a long time. By the time you capture them and kill them, bro, they smiling in your face like, what's down? Yeah, we with that. But I ain't gonna lie, some of them was too hardcore. Like, I don't know if y'all ever read about, it was a certain group of scenes, boy. And I don't agree with this. But by the time the Romans got up there to capture them, to them caves, because they was in them caves in Quran near the Dead Sea, then all them boys were gone. They ritually said a prayer and whoosh, each other head. It was just women and children in there. I think that pretty disrespectful and selfish to the women and children, but I'm just showing how
That's true though.
how devout them boy was, and even y'all know the when certain Islamic groups they attack style, it came off of these people. Know what I'm saying? But I got reason to believe that these 7 spirit-filled men, they came out of that community. You know what I'm saying? Where they would have that type of zeal, like they didn't worry about dying. Like,
But that reminds me of the Maccabees again.
Yeah, it go back.
Remember, like, I think one of the youngest sons, he probably like 4 years old. He
Talking about when they cut them boy tongues out?
Yes, he jumped in the fire by himself. He said, basically, he like, before you do anything, I'm going to kill myself. So he jumped in the fire by himself. Like, that kind of stuff made me feel like, man, like, you got probably kids probably range from 18, 20, down to 4. And they willing to go through all of these things. That take a certain amount of, you know.
Heart, bro. Devout.
And they getting, like, it described them as getting broken in half, scorpion style, and literally fresh split off their skin, like as they alive, like tongue out their mouth.
Man, I think
they
still be simple.
Yeah, but they still praising. Like, they still praising the Most High, you know. And then the whole time they watching their siblings go through this. Now, and it's interesting, but all of that came from Eleazar.
Yeah, for sure.
And he was the old man that I believe he gave them the example of what they need to go through. Like they already knew to believe in the Most High, but that man passed, and he remember he was like, I may be an old man, but my spirit, my ruach is young, strong. And they watched him go through that, and they did the same thing. And that to me is encouraging, because it show that if it do come our way, we gotta have that same mentality.
Exactly, bro. And so far we've been playing, huh? Like, I'm just saying we just that's real.
It's true though.
Especially because, like I say, we bring old ways into this walk, not knowing, like, bro, how serious, most serious it is. Like, you ain't, man, they done for real. Because you got people out here, it would make me started trying to want to go hardcore. When I was staying in Orlando, and now when I be in Atlanta, everybody named Mama E5. Feel me? Buku beads, voodoo beads on them. They go to the E5 man cutting chicken necks. A whole lot of voodoo. I say, man, them boys going hard for their coach. Ain't no way I need to battle this, because I come around y'all, I feel weird energy. Like, I need to be strong in the Most High for that fortification, bro. So we got to go hard. Like,
exactly. Who just said, when he told the young rich ruler, you gonna follow me, leave all that and come with me. Me, like, he ain't got no choice. But, you know, just like us, for example, for the truth, I think I had just about everything I could ask for in the world, you know. But I can't choose to follow the Son, follow the Most High, but keep bringing that with me. Just like he said in the scripture, and I feel like in this truth, we know we got certain things we gotta leave behind, and it's scary in a sense, but it's necessary.
okay.
It's necessary. And I also want to give some wisdom on there's no word such as easy in the scripture. In Hebrew language, there's no word that's easy. The word only means blueprint, because he gave us the blueprint of life, but he never said it wasn't gonna be no trials. It wasn't never gonna be no tribulation.
Yeah.
So don't expect your life or this walk to be easy. You know, that's something that a lot of us get into when we say, man, my life should be straight. It should be cake now. Nah, that's not what it is. But you do have a blueprint.
Yeah, no cap, for sure. Yeah, we're gonna slow it down right there. Well, I hope we got into some type of walk around here. Once I add a blessing to the reading of the word.
That's right. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
So how we doing? Finna pray?
Huh?
You had a lunch 12. You had a good day to sit back and enjoy
Yeah,
yourself.
that's what I'm trying to see.
Yeah, you should.
Oh yeah, what's going on with the chat? Anybody?
Yeah, Pat said, referring to the moon, the sun, the elements, is how demons worship come into being. Voodoo, etc. Religion showing these things starring themselves and talking to the Most High to destroy, etc. Basically, he was talking about the, when it was Paul going to the ascending up to heaven or whatever he was talking about earlier.
Oh, okay. Ascension of Paul, yeah.
I don't know if that's not there.
Okay. All right. Well, we stand, face Jerusalem, close out.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Father who's in heaven, set apart is your name. Allow your kingdom to come. Your will be done on earth as it is in the heavens. Our Yahuwah, as you give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us of our debts as we forgive our debtors, and lead us not to trial, Father Yahuwah, but deliver us from the wicked one. For yours is the kingdom, power, and the glory forever. Our Yahuwah, we thank you for this congregation, Father. We thank you for this coming together under your Ruach HaKodesh, Father. We ask that you cleanse us of our iniquity and our unrighteousness, Father Yahuwah. Do not remember the sins of our youth, but Father Yahuwah, give us a clean heart that we may serve you, Father. Renew our mind, Father, that we may think as you think, Father, and speak as you speak, as we are people of you, Father. We ask that you lead us and continue to guide us in wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. We give you all the glory and all the honor. Yeshua HaMashiach, and we pray. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Oh, can I ask you a question? So as far as